Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the United States. This is George Hicks, the National Broadcasting Company. This is the World Series of 1937. We're speaking from our box directly behind home plate on the lip of the third tier at Yankee Stadium in New York City. But you fans don't need to have me tell you what this is all about. It's the New York Yankees, world champions of 1936, again pennant winners this year in the American League, versus the New York Giants, National League champions of 1937, and for the World Championship in baseball. And this is the fifth World Series since the beginning in 1905 between the two New York teams. Well, we've been in our chairs here since 11 a.m. this morning. Now 1:15. The bleachers, bending in an irregular curve from middle left field around to middle right, were packed solid on our arrival this morning. And the third tier of moderate-priced reserve seats were also packed at that time, except the extreme tips at left and right field, and now they're filling up. The expensive boxes in first layer tier are now filled practically, except for the last moment arrivals. There must easily be 50,000 or a little more here now before game starts, and they're still pouring in. NBC has its baseball experts manning the microphones. Tom Manning, NBC sports announcer from Cleveland, one of the best. Well, he'll describe the first half of the game. Beside him is Red Barber, star sports announcer from station WLW in Cincinnati. Both, by the way, are red-headed. So remember, when the action gets hot, these two red-headed flashes will be throwing the words at you. And with them is Warren Brown, the friendly and wise ball expert, sports editor of the Chicago Herald-Examiner. He'll give you the expert opinions, the inside facts that only he knows. So much for what's to come. Right now, the Yanks are just trotting in off the diamond. The caretakers are out with their rakes and the chalk lines, the manicuring, which goes on just before the game starts. It's just about 10 minutes now. The photographers are flashing bulbs at the first row box seats where all the celebrities are seated. It's so muggy today, incidentally, that they're using flash bulbs. The Giants are now coming into their dugout. The weather is humid. Whether this is October 6th or not, perspiration is running off our faces, and the bleachers are in shirt sleeves, making that white background. It rained last night here in New York, but now the sky is a pale blue with those low, steamy clouds breaking and floating right over our heads, and the pennants up on top of the horseshoe. But boy, it's thick and it's hot out here. But I'm sure it won't rain. Mayor LaClarge is here. Oh, Mickey Cochran, the old Mike of Detroit, looking fit again, and the babe, Genial. He was wiping his face a moment ago in a blue serge suit. Sits in a box right down below us beside the Yankee dugout. With him is Mrs. Root and his daughter, Jacob Rupert. Genial, handsome, smiling with Mayor LaClarge. Mr. Rupert stood and shook hands with the babe while the photographers took their pictures. Cheers and excitement, the comments running like fire through the stands have been egging us on since noon, when the audience follows DiMaggio, Gehrig, Dickey, Selkirk, Moore, and Ott, all the sluggers, as they drop their long drives into either left or right field stand. The Giants today are the visitors. They're in gray with bright azure blue caps, blue shirt sleeves and socks. The Yanks in white with dark blue caps and socks. The crowd got a terrific howl a few moments ago when Gomez put a long punch into the right field stand. At batting practice about 12:30, when the Giants came in, Hubble got a fine hand when he came to bat, but the best he could do was to ground to the infield. The crowd also cheered young Jack McCarthy, first baseman of the Giants, when he put several long drives into right field stand. They said, well, look at who we got here, as much as to say, well, this boy is right up there with Gehrig and DiMaggio. A quarter of a mile away, on the top of the apartment roof, which are jagged in modernistic style, are the apartment roof galleryites, who pay no ticket and who get a very much of a bird's eye view of the entire scene. Hub is now down behind home plate on the Giants side. warming up, taking his time, wipes his head with his shirt sleeve, puts his old left arm across, and there's the ball. Gomez is doing the same thing on the Yankee side. Photographers are squatted around them, and the caretakers are now laying out their chalk marks around home plate and the batter's boxes. The band is playing in center field. We pause for a moment for the loudspeaker announcement, which said for the people in the aisles to please take their seats. It's just minutes now before the beginning of history in baseball for 1937. The grandstands are packed, red, white, and blue bunting on all sides, excitement growing, and now that's the general scene. Let's get down to what this really means. Beside me is Warren Brown that I spoke to you about. Warren, come on and give us the facts about 1937.
All right, George, this is really the most exciting series, or I anticipate that it will be the most exciting series of the sort of a traditional rivalry that has grown up between the New York Giants and the New York Yankees. As you have been told, or perhaps know already, this is the fifth meeting between these two clubs. They met for the first time in 1921. And baseball history of sorts has been made since then. In 1921, for example, there was no Yankee Stadium. Both of the New York clubs played in the Polo Grounds, which is across the Harlem River. In the 1921 series, the New York Giants were tops in baseball. John McGraw was leading them, and they were a fiery baseball club. In my judgment, the club that Bill Terry is sending out on the field this afternoon is the best New York club since the heyday of McGraw. In that 1921 series, the games were played on the basis of 5 out of 9 rather than the 4 out of 7, which had existed in earlier years and which has been brought back into play now. In that 1921 series, the Giants won 5 and the Yankees won 3. The following year, 1922, the Giants won again, and they won 4 games. The Yankees didn't win any. That was the return to the 4 out of 7 as far as the Giants and Yankees were concerned. The Yankees started to get going in 1923, which was the third successive year that Yankees and Giants played in the World Series. And the thought strikes me now as I've looked at these two pennant races in the National and American League that maybe we're back to those old days again. The Giants and Yankees won last year, and they won again this year, having proven conclusively in their respective leagues that they were far and away the best ball clubs in those leagues. So it is quite possible that we may have another stretch of 3 years, or possibly more, of these all-New York series, the Subway Series as they call them. In 1923, when the Yankees won the World Championship from the Giants, they won 4, and the Giants won 2. After that, the Yankees fell apart a little bit, and it took them a little while to rebuild until they came back stronger than ever. The Giants won another pennant in 1924, but they didn't have the Yankees as their opponents in the World Series that year. Thus it was we came into 1936 before the two clubs met again. And, of course, we will all remember that the Yankees won a really sensational series here last year, 4 games out of 6. Summing up then, we find that down through these 4 series that have been played to date, the Giants have won 13 games, and the Yankees have won 11, which seems to me to bring the two teams very close. In a sense, then, this series, which begins today, being the 5th, is a rubber series. Unless, of course, we figure that they're going to keep right on going again next year. These meetings between the Giants and the Yankees have been productive of some sensational baseball, some very colorful things. Some of the strangest things that have ever happened in World Series play have happened when the Giants were meeting the Yankees. It was in one of these series that we had the famous episode in which a plate umpire declared that it was dark when very few people in the park thought it was dark, with the result that the Commissioner Landis, to whom the decision of the umpire came as much of a stunning surprise as to anybody else, decided to give the money that was spent for those tickets to charity. That was one of the more famous incidents of this Giant-Yankee series. There were a lot of strange plays and a lot of sensational plays. But that's almost enough for the past. Let us get to the present. Looking at the lineups today, which the loudspeaking system is about to give you, perhaps I should pause and let you hear that. pitchers and the catchers and the umpires. Gomez versus Hubble, which we've been expecting this meeting between the two representative left-handers of their respective leagues. As I look through the batting orders and the lineups of the two teams, I find one thing that must be of interest to far-off California. I notice that the New York Yankees in their starting lineup have no less than 5 out of their 9 ball players come from California. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem. Before the anthem about the native sons of California. On the Yankee side are Gomez, the pitcher, Frank Rossetti, the shortstop, Tony Lazzari, the second baseman, perhaps the greatest of them all, Joe DiMaggio, the center fielder, and Merrill Hope, the left fielder. Against them on the Giant side is only Dick Bartell, representing California. And this is not a plug for my native state or anything like that, but it is just an interesting sidelight. As we look at the game now, which is almost to begin, it seems to me that the Giants come into this series as a stout defensive club, a good-spirited club with fine pitching and a modicum of power. The Yankees, of course, are the powerhouse with also good pitching. If anything, their pitching is on a par with the Giants. In a sense, it seems to me that we are going to look at, starting this afternoon, a World Series in which we will have the famous test that we've long awaited between the irresistible force and the immovable object. And now it seems to me that it's almost time for us to hear from my friend Tom Manning of Cleveland. All right, Tom.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. That round of applause is for the New York Yankees, the winners of the pennant in the American League. Their opponents this afternoon in this World Series will be the New York Giants of the National League. Running over the lineup again for you rapidly. Out on the field at the moment, the Yankees. Frank Rossetti at short will lead off. Fred Rolfe at third base will bat second. And that sensational Joe DiMaggio in center field will bat third. At first base will be the Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig. The catcher will be Phil Dickey. In left field for the Yanks, Merle Hope. In right field, George Selkirk. Tony Lazzari, the veteran second baseman, will be at the Keystone sack for the American League entry, and the pitcher, as Warren Brown told you, will be Lefty Gomez. For the Giants, Bill Terry sort of outguessed the boys today. They're a double change. Joe Moore in left field, Dick Bartell at short, Mel Vermont at third base, Hank Lieber in right field, Ripple. Hank Lieber will be in center field, and Ripple will be in right field. Out at distance. One man down in the first inning of this first game of the World Series. And little Dick Bartell, right-hand hitter. Shortstop of the Giants is next. He's a little fellow, but he can hit that ball to the far corner. Dick is 29 years old. This year he batted .306. Lefty Gomez. The pitch. It's a foul back against the speed. Matt Ormsby, the American League umpire, tosses out a new ball to Bill Dickey. You know, Bill Dickey is one of the tallest catchers ever to come into the major leagues. And what a catcher. The first inning, one man out, nobody on. Lefty Gomez. Ball, it's too high. That was a fastball, very high, and the count on Dick Bartell, ball one and strike one. First inning, one man out, nobody on. Here's the pitch. Inside, ball two. Lefty Gomez trying to keep that ball inside for Dick Bartell. And the outfield moved over just a little bit toward right field. Left, center, and right field are playing over a bit. There's a base hit. Behind the bag, out to left field corner. Caroms off the wall. Hope has it. The throw to second drives him back to first base, and it's a base hit for Dick Bartell. That was a ripping smash just inside the third base cushion. The ball going down to the left field corner. It carried off, retrieved by Hope. Hope returning the ball to Frank Rossetti and driving Dick Bartell back to first base. The Giant third baseman. Seems rather strange to say the Giant third baseman. For many years, he was the right fielder. Here's the pitch. Strike called. A beautiful hook ball. It caught the inside corner of the plate with Melvinot stepping back. First inning, one man out. Dick Bartell on first. Melvinot, left-hand batter, is in the box. Ball two. A slow, sweeping curveball that missed the outside corner, and the count on Mel is 1-1. George Hicks told you it's kind of a dark day. Much to the advantage of Gomez. It's a high, foul ball going in the boxes over and back of third base, and it's strike two. Strike two, and ball one. Very, very few vacant seats upstairs. The last two tiers, and in the mezzanine, the last tier and a half, and on the main floor, just the last tier. The same thing is prevalent in the right field corner. The pitch. It's a high fly ball, infield. Lou Gehrig under it. He has it. 2 out. Dick Bartell on first. And Hank Lieber coming up. Hank Lieber will be in center field this afternoon. Jimmy Ripple in right field and Joe Moore in left field. It was thought for a while that Chiozzi might play center field for the Giants, but that has been changed, and Lieber will be in center. Here it is. Ball one. Fastball was over, but just a little bit too high. Hank Lieber bats him right-handed. It's the first inning. 2 out. Dick Bartell on first. It's a foul back. The hit and run was on that time. Dick Bartell was off with Lefty Gomez motion, ran all the way down to second base, and now he trots back. The umpires, Ormsby behind the bat, Morris at first, Steve Bass was at second, and Bill Stewart umpiring at third. Of course, the umpires will shift around each day, rotate. All right, the count on Lieber is strike one, ball one. Strike two. Makes a mighty swing. He wasn't fooling on that one. Swung hard and missed it. And the count is strike two and ball one. The Giants being the visiting club today, batting first. 2 men out. Bartell on first. Here it is. Inside. Lefty Gomez thought he had a corner on that one, but it was inside, and the count is strike two and ball two. DiMaggio and Selkirk are playing plenty deep. 2-2 coming. Strike three. Strike three. Hard in the no run. 1 hit and no errors. Quite a ball game, Warren. Come in.
Yes, Tom, and the noticeable thing in that first half inning was the respect that the Giants evidently have for the throwing arms of these Yankee outfielders. That ball that Bartell hit over third base was normally one on which he would try for second base, but he made his round of first and half-heartedly and then turned back to first. They evidently have heard that the arms of Hogue and DiMaggio in that Yankee outfield can throw that ball around. The other noticeable thing to which I think we might as well refer now is that the rains of last night have slowed down this field to a considerable extent. I noticed that as the boys run around out there, they're digging up large sort of divots in the turf, and I'm afraid that there will not be any too much speed shown until the place dries out a little. And as the sun is now coming out strong, it probably will be dry and, as they say, at the track fast before the afternoon is over. Gomez, in striking out Lieber to end the inning, departed from his orthodox fashion of firing that ball through there. The last strike was slowed up and it threw Lieber completely off his stride, and it was an interesting pitch. All right, Tom, here's the first hitter.
Mike, keep this in mind. Brennan and Gumbert drawn out the right field bullpen to warm up. It'll be Carl Hubbell, you know, left-hander in the box for the Giants. Carl is 122 and lost 8. 33 years old, long, lanky left-hander. The first hitter will be Frank Crosetti. Played the windup. Ball 1. A hook ball was low inside. Crosetti switching around up there, stepped away, took it, and the count is 1-0. Red Rolfe, the Yankee third baseman, will be next. Hubbell bending over now. He's taking just a little bit of time. He always starts out rather slow, and then long about the fourth inning, steps it up a little. Ball 1, inside. And the count is 2-0. On that giant infield is fell out at third base. Dick Bartell at short. Burgess Whitehead at second. And Johnny McCarthy at first. Hubbell is in the box. And Mancuso doing the catch. Crosetti up. The count, ball 2. The pitch. Strike. Call. A burning fastball right down the old alley. About belt high. Frankie Crosetti jumping away from the plate. The horn has been called in. And the count is ball 2 and strike 1. Pepper on that giant infield for the moment. Outside, and it's ball 3. Ball 3 and strike 1. That count, ball 2 and strike 1. Hubbell tried to come in there with a sweeping curveball over the outside, making Crosetti reach for it, but he refused. Ball was outside, and it's ball 3 and strike 1. No score as yet. Frank Crosetti, first man up for the Yankees in the last half of the first inning. When they get that outfield, it's Joe Moore in left, Hank Lieber in center, Jimmy Ripple in right. Ball 3 and strike 1. Crosetti, right-hander up. Outside, ball 4, and Crosetti walks. Coming up now, we have Red Rolfe. Peppery's third baseman, Ransom, left-hand. The Yankee uniforms are white. The home uniform white, that blue stripe, about an inch apart. They're wearing navy blue jerseys, blue caps, blue socks. The NY, of course, on the top of their cap. Carl Hubbell, giant pitcher with the left-hander, takes a stretch, a peek at first. Here it is. It's in there, a called strike. Sharp breaking curveball that Red Rolfe started to start away from. It broke over the heart of the plate for a called strike. Joe DiMaggio will be next. Said he has a big lead. Has a play at first. No go. Just to let him know that you're in there. Hubbell tossing that ball over with not any great amount of effort. Strike 1 the count. It's outside. Breaking curveball was plenty low and outside. Gus Mancuso jumping over for it. That evens the count on Rolfe. Ball 1 and the strike 1. There's the stretch. Peek over to first. There's a play at first. Not even close. Crosetti getting back fast. Hubbell wasn't burning that ball over to Johnny McCarthy. Just letting Crosetti know that he's in there. Ball 1 and strike 1 coming. It's outside and low. Hubbell shook his head a little on that. Mancuso turned around and talked to Ormsby. Burgess White at the second baseman has walked in from his spot, yelling something at Hubble. Hubble picks up the rosin bag now. Now he's kicking the dirt around on the top of the rubber there. Caron is playing pretty deep third base. Hit runners on, fly ball and back at third base. And it's 2-2. That's at least a glimpse of what Joe McCarthy, the manager of the Yankees, might be doing in this series. Instead of getting that sacrifice and playing for the one run, that count ball 2 and strike 1, put the hit and run on. Earl Combs coaching at first, Arnie Fletcher at third. The count is ball 2, strike 2. Rossetti on first, result of a base on balls and nobody else. Hubble pitching. 2-2, over to first base. Tossed over there with sort of nonchalantly. Third time he's tossed over there with no particular speed on that toss from the box. Here it is. Smacked outside, foul ball. Fans jumped to their feet then. That was a very hard smash. The ball turned all the way around on. Pulled it a little bit too much. It landed about 2 yards outside the first base cushion. Boys that will bear a lot of watching in this short Blue Ribbon Classic will be Johnny McCarthy, who will replace manager Bill Terry at first base. Ed Rolfe is in there with the count ball 2 and strike 2. And Rossetti on first, nobody out. Here comes strike 3. Strike 3. That count 2-2. Ball seemed to lead the forward part of the batter's box. Perhaps expecting a fastball. Hubble came in there with a sharp breaking hook ball right over the inside corner. Just caught an inside corner and Rolfe swung, missed it by 7 or 8 inches. Now we have a little different picture. One man out. Frankie Rossetti on first. And the great Joe DiMaggio. Joe, 22 years old. He hit 346 this year. Led both leagues with home runs. Strike. DiMaggio makes a fighting cut from way back on that one. Got a hold of that ball and it certainly dropped it out of the county, Warren. Last half of the first inning of this first game of the World Series. One man out. Frankie Rossetti on first is taking an exceptionally long lead. There's a puck over to first, Loco. A little faster that time. Frankie Rossetti is a pretty wiry little boy when he gets on the bases. Strike 1 on Dimage. Strike 2. Oh, boy, did that Hubble have a lot of stuff on that baby. It was outside. Didn't look for a moment as though it had a chance of cutting in, but it twisted over the heart of the plate. Apparently fooling Joey on that one. Joe was up there with a toe hold. Now it's strike 2. Outside, a pitch out, a puck to first. No go. Rossetti was heads up that time and he came to the left bag, sliding and sliding hard. Bit of inside baseball by Mancuso, calling for that pitch out. You, Mother, that's a signal to the pitcher that the runner on the base might be caught. So the catcher signals for the pitcher to throw the ball wide of the plate, getting the batter out of the way so he can make a play at first. That's the term of pitch out. Is that right, Mr. Warrenbrow? Something wrong with that ball out there. Frankie Rossetti asked Ormsby to take a look at it. But he discussed Mr. Hubble. Instead of throwing it in, he rolled it in on the ground. The ump took a look at it, tossed it out. Now we've got to do it. Last half of the first inning, one man out. Frank Rossetti is on first. Joe DiMaggio is up. Strike 2 and ball 1. Now being Lou Gehrig next. The pitch, the bounding ball, the base hit. Threw it out in the left field. The ball out there is retrieved by Joey Moore. Joey takes to Whitehead at second, holding Rossetti at second base. A base hit for Joe DiMaggio. That was a ground ball that fell to left. Dove for, but just missed it and rolled on out to left field, where it was retrieved by Joey Moore. Frank Rossetti was fast and had no chance at all of going to third base. Joey Moore, after he rounded the bag, put the ball to Whitehead at second, but Rossetti gets back. Now we have Lou Gehrig coming up. Gehrig, bats him left-handed. Lou's been hitting 353 this season, and he's 33 years old. Hasn't missed a ball game since the Lord knows when. Hubble pitching. There it is. Fadeaway curveball, missed the outside corner, and it's ball one. Frank Rossetti is on second. Joe DiMaggio on first. Just a couple of Italian boys that know something about this game called baseball. Ball one, Gehrig hitting. Here it is. A long drive, high and far out, but not going too far away. Hank Lieber is under it, and he has it. Returns the ball to Burgess Whitehead. Rossetti holding second, DiMaggio holding first. Gehrig got a hold of that ball, but the confines of this Yankee Stadium, are plenty long, and the boys took that ball out there, not quite out to the center track. Let me give you the figures on this field. It's 301 feet to the left field corner, then direct left field is 402 feet. Directly in center field is 461. Right center is 407, and on the line in left field is 296 feet. Of course, it branches out within 30 or 40 feet of that. It's 344 feet back. Right now we have two men out, and Bill Dickey at bat, the catcher, left-hand batter. Outside, ball one. Kyle Hubble leaning almost back to second base before he cut loose to that ball. Apparently, he's trying to keep that ball over the lower outside corner for Bill Dickey. Dick Bartell has moved over toward the second base cushion. Strike, ball. Ball one, strike one. Frank Rossetti on second. Joe DiMaggio on first, two men out. Walt struck out. Gehrig flies to Lieber in center field. Carl Hubble, left-hander, is in the box for the Giants. Ball one, strike one. Takes a look at second base. Here it is. Strike two with Chip Powell that you can perhaps hear. That's Mancuso making the catch of the ball. And the count is strike two and ball one. Holy smoke, there's a lot of excitement here at Yankee Stadium. The folks have been waiting, just 12 months for this classic. Down on Bill Dickey now is strike two and ball one. Outside, and the count is 2-2. Earl Holt, who was playing out in left field against the southpaw shoots of Carl Hubble, is next. The other left fielder is Jakey Powell. Ball two and strike two. Hubble takes the stretch. There it is. Chip foul. Dickey swung over that ball, landed right near home plate. Umpire whips out a new ball. The Giants smack it around that infield with the rapidity of light. Malott, Dick Bartell, the Whitehead to McCarthy, and then back to the pitcher Hubble. The Giant outfield is Joe Moore in left, Hank Lieber in center, and Jimmy Ripple in right. DiMaggio on first, Rossetti on second, two out, Dickey batting, ball two, strike two. Coming. Ball three. A burning fastball. Drove Bill Dickey away from the plate. Hasn't had so much on it, but it brought a great groan from the crowd. What's the attendance for? Somewhat over 60? Give me the figures on the attendance just as soon as they're made available to watch. Full count of 3-2. The runners will be off with the pitch. There they go, and here it is. The fly ball going out into deep center field. Hank Lieber running back under it, and he has it. That's all for the Yankees in the first inning. No run, one hit, one base on balls, and no errors. Now, radio friends, we pause briefly for station identification.
NBC booth in the Yankee Stadium, and the thought that strikes me after watching the Yankees' first attempt at Carl Hubble's pitching in this game is that Hub has been a little bit wild, to the extent that he's been 3-2 on most of these hitters. He's been working that ball towards the corners there, pitching very carefully, for the simple reason that it is not a good judgment to get that ball any too good for these Yankee hitters. While he was hit for one base hit, the one that Joe DiMaggio splashed past Mill out at third base, that was a sort of a soggy hit, and it wasn't hit with the authority that we are accustomed to watch when the Yankees really get a hold of the ball. So far in the ball game, it has been mostly one of defense, with the Yankees furnishing the principal threat, of which, as you know now, nothing came. All right, Tom, it looks like the hitter's up here, so let's have him.
Well, it'll be Jimmy Ripple, the giant right fielder. They've completed the first inning without any score. One hit apiece. Carl Hubble has issued one base on balls. So far, Lefty Gomez has issued no bases on balls. Jimmy Ripple leading off. Jimmy, the left-hand hitter, the right fielder of the Giants. Here we go. Ball one. That was a fastball that Gomez had in there, but it was just a little bit too low. Johnny McCarthy will be next. Foul ball up and back at third base. Ball one, strike one. Yes, Jimmy broke his bat hitting that ball. That's what he did, and he's walking slowly over toward the Giant dugout to get a new one. One thing that the ball players just hate to do is to break their bat. Tell me, Warren, how'd that ever start?
What is that?
Well, this broken bat that sort of bones the boys.
Well, that's just one of those superstitions that come along in baseball, like somebody who started a hit by wearing their pants long. You know, they used to pull them all up in the old days. One fellow started in like Cal Simmons or somebody like that with his pants down loose, and now pretty nearly everybody does.
Ready to go again. Ball one and strike one. Ripple hitting. There's a long smash going out to left field. Merle Hogue waiting for it. He has it. Jimmy Ripple with the count ball one and strike one. Fly to Merle Hogue in medium left field. Johnny McCarthy. First year as a regular with the Giants. They like him here in New York. He's getting a nice hand. He steps into the batter's box. He bats and throws left-handed. Lefty Gomez. Outside, ball one. It's awful muggy and awful dark here at the moment. Little wind blowing in from the northwest. There's a smack right up Lazeri, and he makes the catch. He looked at the umpire. The umpire, Steve Basil, waved that it was a unassisted put-out. Looked as though Tony just barely got his glove underneath that ball. A terrific line smash right at Tony's feet. He held the ball up, and Steve Basil waved out that Tony Lazeri made the catch. 2 out. Nobody on. First half of the second inning. Thanks, George. Gus Mancuso up. Strike call. Gus is 31 years old. This season he batted 279. At Yankee outfield, Hogan left, DiMaggio center, Selkirk right. The pitch at the ball. Low and inside. Ball one and strike one. The windup. There's a long smash to the right center field. Selkirk going over fast, and he has it. Very nice running catch by right fielder Georgie Selkirk. Mancuso hitting that ball on a line into right center field. Selkirk was off with the crack of the bat and made the catch. One.
Tom, the noticeable thing there was the fact that all three of these Yankee hitters, or Giant hitters, and 2 of them left-hand hitters, took very solid wallops at the ball. Perhaps the hardest hit of the game to date in the port of effectiveness was that line drive that McCarty hit. All that was Lazeri out there. It's interesting to me to find those fellas walking in there against Gomez, since in the first inning, outside of Bartell's drive over third base, they looked a little bit weak at the plate. Evidently, Gomez is not treating them with the same respect that Hubble is treating the Yankee hitters. He's simply firing that ball in and trusting to those 9 men in back of them, or 8 men, I should say, in back of them, and certainly so far they've done a swell job. 2 of those catches out there in the outfield were better than ordinary catches, particularly Selkirk's on the last one. Well, here's your first Yankee hitter, Tom.
That'll be Merle Hogue. Last half of the second inning, no score as yet. Sacramento, California. This season, batting .301. Earl has always been a fine baseball player, but unfortunately, he's been out of the regular lineup on many occasions because the Yankees have always had so much superior outfield. It's Carl Hubbard, a southpaw, Gus Mancuso catching. Last half of the second inning, no score, and Hogan the hitter. Strike called. Earl Hogue stuck his bat out, drew third baseman Mel out in, but of course had no intention of bunting that ball, just by way of drawing Mel out in from third base. Ball low and outside, and the count on Hogue is ball one and strike one. Earl Hogue the batter, Georgie Selkirk. George has been on the injured and sick list quite a bit during the last half of the season, but he's back in there now strong as ever. Ball one, strike one. Bounding ball down, third goes foul. Artie Fletcher tried to stop it, got past him, but Mallott retrieved the ball, and then the Giants whip it around the infield. To Dick Bartell, to Whitehead, to McCarthy, and finally back to Hubbard. Earl Hogue hit that ball, started to run, was three-quarters of the way down to first base, walking back rather slow. Strike two and ball one. Carl Hubbard winding up. Too high. Over the plate, a little bit high on the count is ball two and strike two. NBC Mike is right over home plate. We're pretty high, but right in line with the pitcher and catcher. Pretty fair seat, in other words. Ball two, strike two. Bounding ball down short. Burgess comes up with it to throw. He's out. Out by plenty. Put out 6-3 for those who keep the score. As Warren Brown just gives me a note that was the first assist of the ball game. Right you are, Warren. Strike out, two fly balls. Two flies to center field by Gary Gatticki, the strikeout by Ross. Now we have Georgie Selkirk, the right fielder, left-hand batter coming up. George hit .328 this year. George is 29 years old. Hits the first ball, a high hopper, down second base, Whitehead to McCarthy, and Selkirk is out. Last half of the second inning with no score as yet. Two men have been retired, and who's about Tony Nazari, and listen to the applause he gets. Tony Nazari, always been a gentleman, fine, great ball player. They like him a lot here in New York, and they should. Tony bats him right-handed. Ball one outside. Tony is 33 years old. This year, Tony hasn't hit quite as well as usual, batting around .250. Ball one is the count, two out, nobody on. Strike called. Hubble had a nice fastball over the inside corner with Lazari pulling away. Well, he gets a handful of dirt there, drying his hands off. And the count will be ball one and strike one. Last half of the second inning, no score as yet, two out, nobody on. There's the hot smack back to Hubble. He knocked it down, picks it up, tosses to McCarthy, and Lazari is out. That ball was hit right smack on the nose, and the applause is for that stop of Carl Hubble. No run, no hit, no errors, no score at the conclusion of two innings. Warren.
Well, I'm sorry, Tom, that we brought up that matter of the no assist in that inning since there was nothing else from there on. But it was an oddity that we got into as far as the last half of the second inning without having one of the infielders handle the ball on the ground and have to throw to first base. It seems to me now that the game has definitely settled down into a warfare between the pitchers, which, of course, lives up to all the specifications of the experts going into the series. They recognize that Gomez was the superior pitcher in his league, and there is no doubt in anybody's mind about Carl Hubble's place in the National League. And so far, there hasn't been very much of anything between the two of them. It's been strictly a pitcher's battle so far, and now we have to sit around here for a while and just wait and see what the break is going to be. And in this sort of a ball game, one never knows when it might pop out. All right, Tom.
Going into the first half of the third inning. In the National League entry, the Giants coming to bat. And their second baseman, Burgess Whitehead. Burgess, 26 years old this year. He hit .286. Lefty Gomez winds up. Ball one. Burning fastball over the plate but too low. One hit apiece so far. There's a bounding ball through the box. A 12 shot by Cosetti to throw. He's out. A beautiful play by Frankie Cosetti. That was a pounding ball just out of the reach of Lefty Gomez. Frankie Cosetti was off for the crack of the bat, took that ball right over the second base cushion, right in the air, flipped it over to Ruth Gehrig for the put out. The applause is for Carl Hubbell. Listen to it. Carl Hubbell, you know, pitches left-handed and bats him right-handed. 1 out, nobody on. A foul upstairs. Well, there wasn't much of a scramble for that ball. It was popped right into the waiting hands of a gentleman who I do not believe is going to toss it back. Here we go. Ball inside. Sharp breaking hook ball, just a little bit close. And the count is ball one and strike one on Carl Hubbell. Inside, and it's ball two. Lefty Gomez had plenty on that one. Getting quite dark here at Yankee Stadium in New York. Decided advantage, I'd say, for Lefty Gomez. Fireball pitch. There's a long smash going out to right field. Shelter going back and near the wall and makes the catch. That ball was hit exactly 340 feet from home plate. Shelter taking that ball just about 4 feet in front of the barrier out in deep right field. Mr. Hubbell tagged that ball very, very well. A base hit in an awful lot of ballparks. But not here in Spacey's Yankee Stadium. 2 out. First half of the third inning, no score as yet. What's more at the top of the batting order coming up? It's Joe Moore. Last time up he was out, Gehrig unassisted. A strike called. Lefty Gomez pitching, and Bill Dickey the catcher. Coming. Ball two. Another sharp breaking curveball is outside. Direction ball one, strike one. 1-1. Ball two. Fastball over the plate, but just a little bit low. And it's ball two and strike one. Lefty dropped that one was good enough. Here's the windup. Ball two and strike one. Foul back. And the count is 2-2. Joe Moore coming up for the second time. Leadoff man of the Giants. The first time up he was out. Gehrig unassisted. After the up tossed that ball to Dickey, the Yankees whipped it around the infield. Lefty Gomez taking his glove off. Nice putting it back down in the box. And here we go. Ball two, strike two. Oh, a hot smash by Dr. Gomez. A similar play that ended the Yankee time at bat. A hard smash through the box that Lefty Gomez grabbed with his glove hand, tossed over to first for the put out. No runs, no hits, no errors. Mr. Brown.
All right, Mr. Manning. The surprising thing, I think, of these last 2 innings as far as the Yankees are concerned is their presentation in a new light. Heretofore, all of us that have been writing and talking about the Yankees have been mentioning their power at the plate. These last 2 innings have shown them to be a very snappy defensive ball club. Every one of those plays in the last inning and every one of the plays in the second inning was a very deftly handled ball by whether it was outfielders or infielders. That play that Frank Cosetti made down in second base there was, I think, the most spectacular one so far. The outfield has certainly performed up to a standard that we didn't expect since we regarded them strictly as hitters. All right, Tom.
A round of applause that's seeping through your loudspeaker now is for El Doobie Gomez, who's pitching this afternoon for the Yankees. Well, Lefty doesn't get very many base hits during the regular season. When he gets one, it's always the most colorful picture. That happens to happen this afternoon. We'll try and watch his every move and transmit it to you. Last last half of the third inning. We have no score as yet. The Yanks coming to bat. And the pitcher, Lefty Gomez, who bats him and throws him left-handed. Hubble. Pounding ball down to Whitehead. An easy chance to play to McCarthy, and Gomez is up. It was a rather feeble swing that Lefty took at that ball. Nice easy hopper that Burgess Whitehead took knee high and tossed it over to Johnny McCarthy for the out. Again, the top of the Yankee batting order coming up. Frankie Cosetti, one of the three Italian boys that play on the Yankee team. And Cuso and Chiozza, the Italian boys in the Giant team. Last time up, Cosetti drew a base on ball. The pitch, ball one. It's low outside. This is the first game of the World Series. Boys will play 4 out of 7. 2 here at Yankee Stadium, and then we move over to the Polo Ground. There we go. Strike call. Kyle had a fastball in there, right over the heart of the plate, up high. Called strike, and the count is ball 1 and strike 1. Last half of the third inning. Yankees batting, 1 out, nobody on. There it is. Ball 2. That was over the plate. A little bit too low, and the count is ball 2 and strike 1. Red Wolf, third baseman. Frankie Cosetti, right-hand batter, is up. Ball 2 and strike 1. It is inside, ball 3. Frankie Cosetti is a tough little boy to pitch to. Always wiggling up there, giving the pitcher no target to shoot at. 1 out, nobody on. Hubble winds up at ball 3 and strike 1. It's in there, a called strike. Well, had that one in there, fell high and right over the heart of the plate. Frank Cosetti elected to work out the swing, and the count is ball 3 and strike 2. 3-2, and this is the big one. Winding up. There's a long drive going to left field. It's foul by 1 foot. Clear down in the corner. Everybody jumped to their feet. We waited for a moment to make sure that that ball was outside, not more than a foot down the left field corner, and that perhaps is the hardest hit ball of the afternoon. That count 3-2. Carl Hubble came in there with a fastball, much to the liking of Frank Cosetti, who had a toehold in anticipation of just that kind of a pitch, and he nailed it. A low line drive that went lickety-scoop down on that left field corner and was fouled by not more than a foot. Nice bit of umpiring there by Phil Stewart. He certainly was on that play. Ready to go, 3-2 the count. Foul high. Mancuso ripped off his mask, started back, but it's in the stand. Frankie Cosetti has a count of ball 3 and strike 2. Red Ormsby, umpire behind the plate this afternoon. Each time he tosses that ball out, the boys sort of dirty it up a little bit with a little of that infield dirt. Ready to go again. Hubble has the ball. Ball 3 and strike 2. Founder down third is fouled by not too much. So close to being a fair ball, the fella grabbed it, flipped it over to first base. Frankie has his eye on that hot corner. Frankie's a little fella, not very heavy, but he certainly can pull those balls down toward third base. Playing the last half of the third inning. Yankees at bat with 1 out, nobody on. Frankie Cosetti up with a full count. There's the windup. High ball going out to left field. Joey Moore didn't move very much, and he has it. Frank Cosetti is a known left field hitter. Joey Moore, the giant left fielder, was playing out there pretty near to the track. Only moved about 4 or 5 yards to make that catch. Now we have 2 out. Nobody on. Red Wolf at bat. Two trips to the plate. Cosetti threw a base on balls and fly to Gilmore in left field. Red Wolf up. Last time up, he struck out. Hubble winds up. It's a ball. Sweeping curveball, not too fast. Missed the outside corner, and the count on Rolfe is ball one. Not quite as dark here now as it was while the Giants were at bat. No sunshine or anything like that, but brightening up a little bit. He cut that one down left field with a skirting foul into the stands, and the count is ball one and strike one. Ed Rolfe is back in the batter's box. Again, Carl Hubble has a new ball. That's the cleanest looking ball that we've seen out there this afternoon. Ball one and strike one, 2 out, and nobody on. Fly ball going out to left field. Joey coming over to the line under it. He takes it, and that's all for the Yankees in the third inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. One.
There's no reason to suspect, Tom, that these pitchers aren't still in complete control of the ball game. Hubble has been almost perfect, I might say, since the first inning. Outside of Frank Crosetti, who hit a ball rather sharply into left field, and Rolfe, who just hit a dinky fly out to Joe Moore. None of the others have been able to get the ball past the infield. Hubble seems to have recovered whatever lack of control it was that he started out at in the game. He's getting that ball just about where he wants it. And with these two clubs having a pretty good understanding of such weaknesses, if weaknesses exist in the other side's offensive array, why, I think Carl will go along pretty well. He seems to be perfectly self-contained, whereas Gomez, on the other hand, is just as effective and seems to be perfectly content with the way things are going on. I don't know that I blame him. All right, Tom.
All right, we're going into the first half of the fourth inning. We ought to get a bit of excitement now on both sides. We have Bartell, Ott, and Lever coming up for the Giants. And in the fourth inning, all the Yankees will have coming up will be DiMaggio, Gehrig, and Dick. Group coaching at first and Snyder at third for the Giants. Here we go. Bartell up. He hits the first ball, pitch to the mighty drive going deep. Hope going back on the cinder track, and he has it. Run out. Dick Bartell, as I told you in the first inning, is a long left field hitter. He got a hold of that first ball pitch. It was a high ball, about letter high. Stepped into it, drove it deep out into left field with Holt, who was playing deep, running back near the center track and making the catch. Now we have Melvin Ott coming up. Mel is 28 years old. He batted .294 this year. Last time up, he flies to the first baseman, Lou Gehrig. The first pitch, ball one. Sharp breaking curve ball that was low outside to a left-hand hitter. Ball two. Fastball right under Mel's chin. Stepped away from the plate. Now the count is 2-0. First half of the fourth inning. There's a bounding ball through the box. Lazeri goes over, makes the play. It's close. He's out. Boy, what a play that was by Tony Lazeri. That was a bounding ball over the head of Lefty Gomez. Tony Lazeri running away from first base. Grabbed that ball to his right. Then leaped, pivoted, got the ball over to Lou Gehrig, just ahead of Mellott. Only by about one step. 2 outs, nobody on. Beautiful play by Tony, the best play of the game so far. Hank Weaver is up. Right-hand hitter, strike. He swings and misses. Two very beautiful infield plays there. One by Crosetti and this one by Tony Lazzari. Strike one, Weaver hitting. Strike two. Makes a mighty cut at that sharp-breaking curveball. Swung over it, and it's strike two. The high infield fly ball and back at second base. Lazeri, the gel for it, and under it he has it. That's all for the Giants in the fourth inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. One.
All right, Tom, the thing that I've been waiting for since the World Series game began just appeared out there now. We've heard tell throughout the summer that maybe Tony Lazzari, the veteran of many a campaign up here with the Yankees, was slowing down a little bit. Well, he certainly gave no evidence in that play that he made out there in this last inning when he ranged over back at second base and came up with the ball. The fact that he got in front of the ball was not so much a part of the play as his ability to throw while definitely out of position. He was getting rid of that ball almost while he was running straight away from where he had to throw it. And the two activities combined give Tony at the present time the lead for the spectacular fielding in this series. All right, Tom, here's Joe DiMaggio now.
All right, the big guns of the Yankees. One of the big reasons why the Yankees are so far out in front in the American League. DiMaggio, Gehrig, and Dickey. Guy at outfield playing way back. Jimmy Ripple is standing clear out the other side of the track, standing out there about 360 feet from home plate, waiting for DiMaggio to hit. Here we go, Hubble pitching. Ball one. Sharp breaking curveball. On a foot outside. Left fielder Joe Moore is playing right on the track. He's approximately 380 feet from home plate. Certainly play Joe DiMaggio deep, and they should. The pounding ball between first and second. Whitehead coming over. The throw, he's out. Joe hit that ball right on the tip of his bat, and it was a sizzling little grounder down between first and second. Looked for a moment. He had a chance to beat it out, but Whitehead is fast, came over, scooped the ball up, got it to Johnny McCarthy at first, and DiMaggio is out. Lou Gehrig got it. Last time up, Lou Gehrig got a hold of the ball, but he hoisted it much too high, giving center fielder Hank Weaver a chance to get under it for the put-up. Giant pitcher, Carl Hubble, wiping the perspiration from his brow. Now he's ready to go. Gehrig the hitter, left-hand batter. Out. Strike called. Boy, fella Hubble could have had a lot on that one. Fastest ball he's crossed all afternoon, right over the heart of the plate. There it is. Outside. Ball one, strike one. Oh, your heart sort of begins to beat double quick time when this baby Gehrig stepped up to that plate. What a picture. Big broad shoulders and big strong arms. 1-1. Foul. Clear over the stands. Over the back of first base. It's quite a hoist to get it over the stands here at Yankee Stadium with 3 decks, you know. Strike 2, ball 1. Starting in the 4th inning, and it's quite a ball game. A pitcher's battle so far, each side having 1 base hit. DiMaggio getting a hit for the Yanks, and Bartell for the Giants. Strike 2 and ball 1. Inside, driving Gehrig away from the plate, and the count is ball 2 and strike 2. Catcher Bill Dickey hanging around home plate. He'll be next. Bartell is playing over almost in back of second base. Whitehead has shifted over between first and second. McCarthy playing 2 yards from the line. Here we go. Gehrig swung at a ball ball, lifted 20, and it's a strikeout. Carl Hubble came in there fast with a sharp breaking curveball. Looked like it was coming over the heart of the plate. Gehrig started the swing and apparently tried to hold the swing, but he was going in there so hard, unable to hold it, and swung around, missing that ball by several feet. Looked kind of bad on that one for a strikeout, 2 gone and nobody on. Always a picture with that Gehrig at that plate. And that was a real picture, and Warren will tell you about it in a moment. All right, Bill Dickey up, 2 outs, nobody on. It's in there for a called strike. You'll notice that when Gehrig, Dickey came to bat, Hubble struck the first ball in there, a straight ball with all the speed that he has at his command, keeping the ball just a little above the knee. Full, good pitcher. The bounder down first. McCarthy has it. McCarthy running the bag for the put out. Unassisted. No run. No hits. No errors. No score to conclude the 4 innings.
Tom, the interesting thing to me in that inning was at the time that Gehrig was at the bat. I happened to be looking down into the Giant dugout, and Bill Terry is down there sort of out in front of his players, and to distinguish him from the rest of them, he has a towel around his neck. I've been trying to figure out for several innings why that was, but I gathered he was waving his outfielders around, particularly his center fielder, Hank Weaver. He was steering him around with the aid of his arm and the towel, And I can see now that the distance that these giant outfielders play away from the plate and naturally away from their own dugouts, with Gehrig at the plate, it's no wonder that Bill needs a towel around his neck. From that distance, one giant looks the same as another. This is the first time that I've noticed Gehrig taking that active part in the direction of his outfielders during the progress of play, but it was quite interesting to me. All right, Tom, here comes the next one.
Now we're going into the first half of the fifth inning. Fans are beginning to group in unison. This time it happens to be for the Giants. One, I thought Carl Hubbard was getting a little better as he moved along. What's your opinion of that?
Well, he broke off at Gehrig. I think, Tom, was the finest breaking curve that was thrown by either one of these pitchers this afternoon. At least that was the way it looked to me. It didn't start out as a bad pitch, but it broke so sharply that it made Gehrig look bad. Didn't you think so?
Yes, sir. Well, here we go. Jimmy Ripple. Right fielder, first man up. Ball one. Curve ball was outside. Last time up, Ripple flied to left field. Selkirk has moved back over the cinder track. Joe DiMaggio has moved over right center field. Strike. Call. Ball one, strike one. Lefty Gomez pitching. Drive down the left is foul. Roar goes up from the crowd there. Some of the fans are on a different angle than we are. Takes a little longer to see whether that ball is curving foul or not. All right, it's strike two and ball one. First half of the fifth inning, no scorers yet. Each of the teams, the Giants and Yanks, have made one hit. Ball two, a fast ball that knocked Jimmy Ripple down. That's the first one of the product that was knocked down this afternoon, getting out of the way of the ball. Ball two and strike two. Lefty Gomez pitching, Bill Dickey catching. 2-2, the foul back, and the count remains 2-2. Ripple got a piece of a good curveball from Gomez that time. Well-pitched ball. It was breaking over the outside corner. Umpire tossed out a new ball, gave it to Dickey. Dickey shot it down to Rolfe. Rolfe got some dirt and rubbed it up, and now Ormsby has asked for the ball again. Tosses out another ball. He's telling Bill Dickey now, stop throwing that ball in the dirt. That's a little fine play by the boys, nothing serious. Yanks threw that ball around the infield. Now Gomez has it and ready to go again. Jimmy Ripple, the hitter. There's a big knock in the right field, a line drive. Lands out there. Selkirk has it, and so is the second. Ripple stopping at first. Second giant hit of the afternoon. That counts 2-2. Lefty Gomez came in there with a straight ball inside. Ripple pulled away and pulled the ball with it to right field for a base knock. Johnny McCarthy coming up, the first baseman. Johnny's a pretty tall boy. Bats and throws left-handed. Last time up, fly to Lazari. The first pitch, running wide of the plate. A beautiful stop by Bill Dickey. Ball one. A curved ball that started to break over the outside corner. By the time it was finished, it was on the outside of the right-handed batter's box. Here it comes. Ball two. Again, it's outside. You'll notice from the yelling that there are a lot of Giant fans here in Yankee Stadium this afternoon. There's the sounder down. The throw is cut off by Cosetti. Ripple goes to third, and McCarthy stops at first. That was a hot clash between Lazari and Gehrig. Lazari coming over fast. It was scored as a base hit for McCarthy. A hard ground ball that Lazari came over. He was able to touch that ball, but unable to hold it. The ball rolled out to right field. This is the first scoring threat of the afternoon. The Giants have runners on first and third. Nobody out. Handcuff Mancuso coming up. The pitcher again. McCarthy is on first. Ripple is on third base. Gomez pitching. Mancuso up. That was a pitch out. But was all, Ripple was too far off third base. Perhaps the Yankees were expecting a squeeze play or something that time. Anyway, Dickey wanted to find out, and inside baseball, he called for a pitch out. Here it is. The ball upstairs, strike. Ball one and strike one. Gus Mancuso, the giant catcher, is a right-hand batter. Last time up, he flied to right field. First half of the fifth inning. No scorers yet. And the Giants have runners on first and third. Ripple on third, McCarthy on first. Ball one, strike one. Here it is. Strike two. A beautifully pitched ball right under the handle of the bat. Over the inside corner with Mancuso taking a terrific cut. It's strike two and ball one. Johnny McCarthy staying pretty close to first base. Luke Gehrig holding him on there. Here it is. It's a long drive to right field going foul. It is. It's foul in the stands, and the count remains 2-1. Mancuso reaching outside for that pitch. The Yankees have crossed that ball around the infield. Not very rapidly, but each one of them feeling the ball. The Yankee infield is playing back. Going to give up that run on third base, apparently. Here's the pitch. Another foul. That one's upstairs. Upstairs and back of first base. Gus Mancuso, the batter, at strike two and ball one. Take a look at that picture for you. Second base combination. Cozzetti and Lazari are playing pretty deep. Red Rolfe is playing deep enough. Gehrig is right in the bag holding McCarthy there. Gomez tosses over to Gehrig. Going to have Hardin. Just letting McCarthy know that he's in there. It's strike two and ball one. Mancuso up. Gomez stretches. Here it is. The ground ball down to Cozzetti. Cozzetti to Lazari. Out at second. Out at first. A double play. And Ripple crosses the plate. And he got that with Ripple on third base. McCarthy on first. Mancuso hits a ground ball to Cozzetti. Cozzetti picked it up. Tossed to Lazari. Getting McCarthy. Lazari to Gehrig. Getting Mancuso. A double play. And the score, the Giants 1, the Yankees 0. Now we have Burgess Whitehead coming up. The Giants' second baseman, right-hand batter. Last time up, he was out short to first. The pitch right down the alley, a called strike. Lefty Gomez, you know, the fans throughout the circuit haven't appreciated the fireball that he possesses, but he's got a lot of it. Outside of it's a ball one and strike one. Many of the ball players have said that Gomez has a ball he throws just quicker as fast as Bob Feller or lefty Bob throws. Ball one and strike one. There's a long smash to right field. It's fouled by 2 yards down the right field corner. Again, the fans jump to their feet on that line smash by Burgess Whitehead. I believe we've had more shots down the foul lines in this particular game than any game we've seen in a long time. Is that right?
Yeah, you don't they, Tom?
Ready to go again. Gomez has the glove off for a moment, and the count is strike two and ball one. First half of the fifth inning. The Giants batting 2 out, nobody on. The windup. There's a base knock over Gehrig's head down to the right field corner. Ball carries off the wall. He's going to second. There's the throw. He goes to the second standing up, and the first extra base hit of the World Series in 1937. And the third Giant hit of this inning. First half of the fifth. Now we have Carl Hubble, the Giant pitcher, coming up. It was a mighty wallop by Burgess Whitehead. A line drive that was about 15 feet over the head of first baseman Luke Gehrig, and the ball going down into the right field corner. Hit the barrier down there, 296 feet from home plate, and fouled out to Georgie Selkirk, but it was ample time for Whitehead to reach second base standing up. The fourth hit of the ball game, the third hit of the first half of the fifth inning for the National League Giants. Here's the pitch to Hubble. He hits the first ball pitch. Down the foul line, and again it's foul. Listen, Warren, I don't want the radio to explain that. You tell me about that.
That's right. That one just missed, and it looked like it cinched it, didn't it? When it started to come, that's been going on all afternoon. Right down those foul lines on both sides of the field.
Well, it was so good that Carl Hubble was all the way down to first on his way to second anyway. One thing I don't like about radio announcers is to kid you out there, you know, and make you believe that there's no chance of a base hit when there isn't. pounding ball to Gehrig. Gehrig comes up with it. Steps on the bag for the put-out. Non-assistant. That's all for the Giants in the 5th. 1 run, 3 hits, and no error. We've completed 4.5 innings of this first game of the Blue Ribbon Classic. This is Tom Manning speaking. I've enjoyed it thoroughly working with you, Warren, and broadcasting to you, the radio audience, and the remaining part of the ball game will be broadcast by Red Barber of Cincinnati, Ohio. Before Red comes in, Warren Brown.
All right, Tom. Well, we certainly had a little excitement in that inning, and looking back at it, it was a good thing that Joe McCarty, directing the Yankees, decided to play this infield back for a double play and sort of spot the Giants at 1 run, because after Whitehead's 2 base hit came along, there were 2 out at the time, and it looked as though the Giants were on their way to a big inning. The interesting thing about the inning was that those 2 hits which started it were both made by left-hand hitters, and both of them were able to pull the ball into right field. And doing that off the left-hand pitcher, Gomez, that would indicate that maybe they are gradually catching up with lefty. He was hit rather hard in that inning, and of course he was very fortunate in one way that there was only 1 run scored. And 1 run, as we all know, against the Yankees is not supposed to be much run. However, they don't see Hubble every day. All right, Red, glad to see you down here.
Well, thanks a lot, Warren, and needless for me to say, I'm glad to be here. 1-0 favor the Giants, for the Yankees up in the last of the 5th inning. Carl Hubble doesn't have to have anyone tell him that he has a lead of 1 run. He's used to having to work that way with the Giants. He's pitching now to Holt, who hits the first pitch high and short out into left center. Bartell backs back, drives everyone away, waits under it, and takes it. Earl Holt, the right-hand hitter, went after Hubble's first pitch, popped it up to Dick Bartell, who went back into short left center field. And it is 1 up, 1 away, last of the 5th inning. Hubble has now retired the last 12 Yankees in a row. So far, he's pitching a 1-hitter. It is 1-0 favor of the Giants. Gomez retired 11 Giants in a row before Ripple first stepped in the 5th inning singles to start off New York 1-run inning. The only score so far in the 1937 World Series. Up there now is George Selkirk, strong left-hand batter, takes outside, ball 1. A curve thrown by left-handed pitcher to a left-hand hitter that broke off just around the knee. Selkirk pitches up his trousers, loops his shoulders a little. He's turned toward right field. The Giants are playing him as a full hitter, out of the bench deep and pulled around toward right. Hubble out of his pitch, delivers. This one's a curve low outside under the knees for ball 2. 2-0 to Twinkle-Toe Selkirk, the young man who had perhaps the hardest spot ever to fill in baseball when it was his job to take over right field when Babe Ruth hung up his spikes as far as the Yankees were concerned. Selkirk coming at big lazily down 1 twice. Hubble set in with it, swung on and missed the strike 1. Selkirk didn't like that one. After he swung and didn't get it, he beat it heavy into the bat down on the plate as if to say, there was my cousin pitch and I didn't blame Ken with it. 1 out, nobody on. Last of the 5th, Giants leading 1-0. Hubble down, ball 3, just missing the outside. Hubble has given us a sight of that famous screwball just 1 time. That is, it really counts this afternoon. The 1 time he exploded it is when he struck out Gehrig in the 4th inning. Hubble taking his time, puts into the dirt now after getting the sign, straightens up, swinging stretch, easily down with a great left arm. The pitch is 1-2. 3-2. Now there's a change of pace curveball, twisting its way down in there. Every ball that looks a little backward thrown by Hubble is his screwball, because he throws such an assortment that a lot of his curves breaking down would sail. When you really see that screwball, you know it. The pitch is hit a high fly ball into short right field. Back goes second baseman Whitehead. Under comes Ripple, and it's Ripple for the catch. That was one about 2 miles. 1 up and 1 down. Whitehead was all the way back out in a pretty fair piece of right field. He had to make up his mind first if he'd take it, then second that he wouldn't. Ripple, waiting right there, came in for the kill. 2 away for the Yankees. Last of the 5th inning. Giants out front 1-0. The hitter is Cornelius Harry. Then McCarthy drive through him in the 5th inning. Most important base hit of the afternoon. So that sent Ripple around the 3rd. Harry in a crouch, took that stick sharply, right-hand batter, swings and fouls it into the dirt. Mancuso retrieved, strike 1. pitches left-handers today, and both of them flirting with Lady Luck, as both are wearing 11. However, the dame cannot smile both ways at the same time. Hubble has never lost an opening World Series game, and Gomez has never lost a World Series game. Somebody is going to get hurt before this day is over. Hubble pitching to Lazari. Ball strike two. He picks up the inside corner just under the letter. Right over the short rib. Nothing in two. 2 out. Nobody on. Last of the 5th inning. Giants ahead 1-0. Outfield sharply toward left. Greg Lazari is an out-and-out full hitter. The pitch is into the dirt in front of the plate. Ball 1. The first time that Hubble has thrown anything that looked wild. However, that's not a wild pitch. A wild pitch is only so scored when there's a runner on base to advance and take advantage of it. Just ball 1. 1-2. Hubble has retired the last 13 Yankees in a row. Given up just 1 hit, 1 base on balls, and that's coming in the first inning. First third of the first inning. Up into his swinging stretch. Delivers outside. A curve that did not come down and in to a right-hand hitter thrown by left-handers. 2-2. Down at shortstop. Purple box, Dick Bartell. Visiting with his uniform, putting his cap down. Belloc, the reform right fielder who's done a great job at third base. Moves a little dirt. Moves out his terrain around him. He's pulled over pretty close to the foul line. Whitehead is over almost back to second base. There's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed it. Strike 3. That's the third strikeout for Carl Hubble. And for the first time, pitching with a 1-run lead, he makes it look just that much better. Bob has now retired the last 14 men in a row. We pause for station identification.
Yankee Stadium and in the NBC booth at the top of the stand looking over the World Series. And the strong point about Hubble now, since Red has told you how he's been mowing everybody down since the first inning, is that in these latter stakes, it seems to me he's making the Yankees hit at bad ball. That last pitch on which Tony Lazari struck out wasn't a very good pitch, but he lashed at it rather wildly. That would indicate to me that Hubble has the boys on the hip, and nothing but a break is going to beat him so far. But we'll see. All right, then.
Thank you, Warren. It's the top of the Giant batting order up in the 6th inning. Joe Moore coming up for his 3rd time, and he so far hasn't gotten the ball out the infield. Hitting left-handed, he takes outside, just missing by a hair for ball 1. Joe first up in this ball game, grounded out to Gehrig unassisted, then hit back to Gomez in the 3rd inning. Pitch, strike 1 call. 1-1. Joe Moore standing deep in batter's box and goes over to catcher Bill Dickey, who remains down in his crouch, now straightens up, sets his mitt at the target. Swung on and fouled into the upper deck of the stands in back of third base. Going for a high outside pitch. Joe didn't pull it enough, and it's 1-2. First man up in the 6th inning. Gomez pitching behind now as the Giants leading 1-0. The outfield is toward right. Moore swings, hits it right back through the middle, safely through into center field. A ground single, back past the mound over second out into center field for hit number 5 for the Giants and hit number 6 of this first game of the 1937 World Series. Joe Moore singles right through the middle. And with nobody out for New York, top of the 6th, the Giants already ahead 1-0. Moore leads down on first. Gehrig has to roll the inside corner, and Dick Bartell, who got the first hit of the series, has 1 for 2 is up. Takes inside, throws against him, ball 1. Gomez coming down with a fan ball just under the waist on the inside. Bartell stands, turns toward right field, but when he steps in on the pitch, he throws for short. Gomez delivers. Bartell swinging, hits a high fly ball into right field. Selkirk waiting in the middle of the track for it, and has it. Halfway down to second, Joe Moore turns at the catch and retreats back to first base. 1 out, top of the 6th. Stepping up is Melvin Ott, who was a New York Giant, regular at the age of 17, and he's been ever since. Ott stands just as close to catcher Dickey as he can get. Outfield toward right. Mel swings and misses, and he took his cut. One that came down under the shoulders on the inside. And hitter up against a left-handed pitcher. position, throws out of the shoulder. Fastball wide, and it's 1-1. One away. Joe Moore, very fleet, knows his way around those bases, leading down off first. Talking Luke Gehrig, the endurance player of all baseball, both the corner against him. Luke coaching back to first. This on is strike 2 call. A deep, sharp hook down just above the knee. You see these fastballs thrown by Gomez, and then you look at him, slender, willowy, bending himself into a pretzel big gate when he throws. You wonder where he gets the strike. On swinging, it's a high foul up and back into the upper deck. Yankee Stadium has the ground floor, the first level, then a mezzanine, and then a still higher upper deck. So it's 3 floors of spectators. It's not quite a sellout. A few hundred seats are left. Outfield quarter right on top. Leans back from one under the chin. Now the level's off at 2-2. One away. Here in the top of the 6th. Gomez looks out toward the scoreboard to check himself. Not waiting. 2-2 pitch is swung on, lifted high and foul. Dickey coming back underneath it, over by the Giant dugout, and makes the catch. 1 step out in front of the Giants' bat. Resting in mailbox right in front of New York's dugout. Now that's 2 away in the top of the 6th. Joe Moore, who opened up with a single through the middle, is still at first base. Hank Lieber, who's been given chance after chance by Bill Terry, who's received another strong vote of confidence from Boss Bill by starting him in this first of the 1937 Fall Classic games, is now coming up for his 3rd time. Lieber was struck out by Gomez to end the first inning. Then he popped up to second base in the 4th to Lazari. Now he's up for his 3rd trip, 0 for 2. The outfield deep around toward left. Swinging, fouled it straight back onto the screen. Strike 1. Hank, big, blonde. When you look at him, nobody has to tell you he was one time a fullback. Built that way. Right-hand hitter who cowtails that war club and swings from his heels on up and out. 2 away, and Joe Moore ready to go on anything, leading down off first. 270 feet away. Lieber steps back out of the box, figuring Gomez taking too much time. Lefty, very, very nervous. The perfect antithesis of Hubble, even though they're both left-handed. Delivers outside. 1-1. Fastball streaking down. Wasn't quite even close. Lieber steps back out of the box, picks up a little dirt in his right hand. Now sets, stands right up against the plate, feet wide spread. That cocked way back, all over his right shoulder. He swings, and it's a long belt. He's high out into left, holds back under it, and takes it. That's all for the top of the 6th inning. And for the Yankees coming in for the last of the 6th. The Giants lead 1-0 as calm Carl Hubble starts pacing out toward the mound. Into the mic, Warren Brown.
All right, Red. I was going to pay particular attention to that last half inning because it was the one in which Gomez had the pitch after he was roughhoused a little bit just before that. And when Joe Moore, another left-hand hitter, led off with that single to the infield and out into center field, I began to wonder whether Gomez was losing his stuff or not. However, Lefty is still out there battling him because he recovered, and while the Giants have 1 run off him, they certainly haven't distinguished themselves any more than the Yankees themselves have against the pitching of Carl Hubble. Gomez is still the effective pitcher and a great pitcher, and there's been nothing happened in this game to disprove that. As he goes through his work out there, as Red told you, he seems to be a little more busy than Hubble is. Hubble is certainly a very calm sort of a person, and playing behind that 1-run lead, he has the advantage. All right, Red.
The applause greets the appearance of Lefty Gomez as he steps up to hit against Hubble, first up in the last of the 6th inning. Hubble out there pitching to protect his 1-0 advantage. Gomez hitting left-handed. Thrown out. Whitehead to McCarthy, his other time up. He ducks, hits the dirt as one comes right in at the point of his shoulder. Ball 1. Well, that certainly wouldn't be the accolade that one pitcher gives another. But at any rate, it was a warm salutation. As the boys say, Gomez was low bridge. He had to pull his ears in a hurry in order to keep them both. Up now, drying off his hands, rubbing the dirt off of them. Mancuso doesn't look at all sympathetic. Squatting down his crouch now stands up. Gomez drives off his hands. He couldn't get them quite dry rubbing along his uniform, and one of the giants threw them the giant batter's rosin bag. He used it and then tossed it back. Ball one, of course. Outfield a little toward left. Up pitches. High inside. Ball two. Mancuso turns over that ball. Umpire Ormsby, who examines it, takes it out of play, and another one's put in. Turns straight back to Hubble. 2-0 to Gomez. First up. Last of the sixth inning. The Giants lead the Yankees 1-0. Got that run. Top of the fifth. Hubble has had the last 14 Yankees in a row. Up delivers 2-0. Inside and high for ball three. And Hub is behind on his control now for the first time since he walked Rossetti. First up against him in the ball game. Earl Combs coaching back up third. Coaching back up first. Fletcher back up third. Both of them setting out a hoop and a holler. Gomez starting to play from behind. Ahead 3-0. Up comes in and gets it. The automatic strike. 3-1. Just above the knees. Belmont playing up close by third. Up tries 3-1 and registers. Strike two call. Up behind 3-0. Has thrown his last two pitches right through there. Picked up his cap for a moment, wiped the perspiration off of his forehead. It's a hot, muggy, steaming sort of an afternoon. So he was sitting in the upper deck of a double boiler. Up ready for the 3-2 pitch, aims it. It's swung on and foul tipped back. The first time that Gomez has offered it one. Up this time, first and the last of the sixth. Cue ball put in the way by way of third baseman Ott. Coming it up, he walks calmly over toward the mound. There are two rather cool customers. Ott at third, Hubble on the mound. Another cool one's Mancuso under that bat. Right side of the infield, talking it up between them. Coffee and Whitehead. The Hub, an easy swinging stretch. He doesn't wind up. Delivers. Low inside for ball four. Hubble has given up two walks. Gomez hasn't walked anyone. And both times Hubble has walked the Yankee. He has dabbed the old baseball axiom that to walk the first batter up in an inning is fatal. And thus Hubble, by passing Gomez, his opposing pitcher, first up from the last of the sixth, puts the potential tying run on first with nobody out. Now let's see how the Yankees go about trying to get back this one run. One run through the season hasn't meant anything at all to the Yankees. But one run against Hubble in a short series such as the World Series can mean a lot. But after all, when a ball game's over, one run's a whole lot if you haven't got it. Gomez leading down off first, not very far. Carter straddles the corner against him. Frank Rossetti, the leadoff, is up there. He's been on once with a walk. First inning. Outfield is pulled around to the left. His right-hand hitter. There's a throw down to first, not in time. This goes fly outside for ball one. Gomez ran down off first a little bit, and when Mancuso took that outside pitch and threw to first, it was cut off by McCarthy, who had run in anticipating a bunt on the part of Rossetti. So even if Gomez had been a long way off first, which he was, there was nobody at first base to tag him. Hot pulled up, stepped back to the grass at third. Whitehead pulled up on the baseline at second. There's an attempted bunt, which is fouled back onto the screen. 1-1. Frank Rossetti, with a high, piercing voice, can be heard from short, regardless of the size of the crowd. Up there, hitting right-handed. Counts 1-1. Mancuso calls for time, walks out to the mound, talking to Hubble. And now both men of the Giant battery have their caps off, and both are rubbing the beads of perspiration off of their faces. Mancuso, with a great big handkerchief, now he stuffs it back in his pocket. Comes stumping stolidly back of the plate. Swarthy little Gus Mancuso. There's been a lot more to the Giant pitching than most people realize the last few years. The bench pulled up on the infield. Outfield, usual depth and around toward left. Rossetti up, counts 1-1, nobody out. Gomez off first. Up pitches. There's another attempted bunt, and it's foul back. Strike two. Ups come right in with these last two pitches. Cuzzetti has not been able to lay them down. 1-2. Nobody out. On deck to hit after Cuzzetti is Roth. But naturally going to be trying to throw a double play ball right now. There's been one double play in the ball game. That was hit into by Mancuso as he got credit for batting in the one run so far of the struggle in the fifth inning. Runners on first and third. Scored 1-0. Giants. Ball game here at Yankee Stadium. Sort of a cloudy, smoky afternoon. Cuzzetti waiting now behind 1-2. Hub pitches. Cuzzetti swings at the line drive hit out into left field. It's a base hit. Joe Moore takes it on the first bounce. Gomez holds at second. A sharp single for Cuzzetti into left field. A long single. And I imagine the Giants wish now that Cuzzetti hadn't fouled off those two pitches when he was trying to bunt. Hubble, after getting 14 straight Yankees, walked Gomez. The second pass he's given up. Walked Gomez first up in the last of this sixth inning. And Cuzzetti, after vainly trying twice to sacrifice, swung on a 1-2 pitch and hit a clean line drive single to left. That's the second hit off Hubble. And now the tying run is at second and nobody is out, and the batter is Red Roth. The Giant defense is pulled in after the certain that there's going to be a bunt. Roth takes high outside. Mancuso throws to second, and Gomez is saved as the ball gets away from Bartell. Mancuso has Gomez picked off second base, but his throw gets away from shortstop Bartell. And Gomez slides back in and is safe. He was absolutely caught off second base. A pitch out coming down to Roth. Outside for ball one. Mancuso throwing to the third base corner of second. And Gomez cleanly caught off. And it is an error on the play for Bartell. The first error of the series. Bartell letting Mancuso throw get away when Gomez was put cleanly off second. It's an error for Bartell. And Gomez remains at second base. Roth, a left-hand hitter, standing close to him, back of the plate. Hub pitches. Roth takes high outside. Mancuso threatens to throw down to second, but this time Gomez is glued to the bag. He learned his lesson the easy way this time. And we're having excitement here in the last of the sixth as the Yankees are threatening to rise into their muchly vaunted power and strength. Roth up, DiMaggio on deck. Hub pitches inside for ball three, and Roth is ahead. Hubble is behind with his control. This New York crowd at the moment seems to be a Yankee crowd, judging from the way they are applauding these balls that Hubble is missing the plate with to Red Roth, the Yankee third baseman. Nobody out in after the sixth. Cuzzetti is at first. Gomez is at second. Roth up there. 3-0. Up comes in, and Roth takes strike one call. Roth up there, wiggling and dancing, much as a barefooted dancer on the sand of the Sahara at high noon, trying to disconcert Hub and make him miss his target. Hubble in the pitching position, going out of the shoulder. There's a bunt foul, back down to third. 3-1 pitch was an attempted bunt. It was fouled off. Now it's 3-2. Hub walks around back of that mound. So this was just batting practice. I think that's one of his greatest assets. The man is never unnerved. I think the way Hubble pitches, especially in times of stress in baseball, is a good lesson for most of us in the everyday world. Just very quietly keeps his chin out and keeps going as best he knows how. 3-2. Runners lead off first and second. Swung on, fouled, right over into the Yankee dugout. Still 3-2. Pace is rather slow. The Giants become thinkers. In a clutch, they figure out everything they're going to do, and they're certain that everybody on the ball club knows exactly what the defensive move will be. Drawing off that left hand of his, throws away the rosin bag, steps up onto the rubber, shrugs his shoulders, takes a look at those runners, now looks down, takes the sign from Mancuso. He's staying in his crouch. Roth crouching, left-hand hitter over the plate. Hub pitches. There's a high foul coming up and back. Mancuso coming back, cannot get it. It lands just back on the screen. Still 3-2. Still the old blood pressure keeps pounding away up there at a baseball high for excitement. The Giants drew first blood this afternoon. The only blood so far that's been let. They got a run in the 5th inning. They're leading by that margin, 1-0. However, here in the last of the 6th, a walk, a single, and then an error allows Yankees to be at first and second and nobody else. The 3-2 count is to Red Rock. Up looks around. Gomez leads off second. Rossetti comes down off first. Up pitches 3-2. There's nothing out into left center field. It's a hit. Gomez pulls up back third base and the bases are loaded. A single to left center field. And the bases are full and nobody out in the last of the 6th. And now the Dynamiters, DiMaggio, Gehrig, and Dickey is the program. Down in the Giant bullpen, one of the relief pitchers is being warmed up, but he is completely hidden from view, so we can't tell you who it is. You cannot see in either team's bullpen here at the stadium the potential relief pitchers as they groom themselves to get ready. A single into left center field by Rock. Advances Rossetti to second base and Gomez to third. They both had to hold to see whether Joe Moore could come in and make the catch, which he couldn't. Now the base is loaded, nobody out. Last of the 6th inning, and Joe DiMaggio, Jolting Joe is up there, right-hand hitter, feet wide spread. He spread eagle right through the middle of batter's box. Gomez leading off third, Rossetti off second. Roth down off first. The defense is deep around toward left. Up delivers. It's swung on. It's a base hit. In comes Gomez. Rossetti around third is heading for the plate. 2 runs are in, and runners are on first and second. Series in the last of the 6th inning with the bases full and nobody out and the Yankees behind 1-0. DiMaggio, who got the first hit for the Yankees, hit a whistling single to left center field and scored Gomez from third and Rossetti from second, sending Ralph around to third, and when the throw in from center field came to third base, DiMaggio, running like a deer, made it on the throw in to second. So the Yankees go ahead 2-1. Nobody out and runners on second and third, and Bill Terry has walked out to the heart of the diamond to hold a personal confab with Hubble, Mancuso, and shortstop Bartell. Bill Terry, making his first public appearance in the series, comes out from under the shelter of the dugout to the pitcher's mound to talk it over. And at the moment, signals are being relayed to the bullpen. Is to stay in. That's the decision. Gehrig is up, and he's to be given a deliberate base on ball. That's ball 1. That's the strategy to Lou Gehrig. First base is open. Nobody out. The Yankees lead 2-1, and DiMaggio and Ralph are on second and third respectively. Gehrig will soon be at first. And there is ball 3. A deliberate walk being given to Lou Gehrig. Not because they like him, but because they don't want to pitch to him right now. There's ball 4, and Gehrig is purposely put on first. Again, the bases are loaded with nobody out in the last of the 6th. Bill Dickey is up there. Bad Bill, as the Yankees call him right now. He'll be Sweet William if he delivers. The infield is pulled up on the base path. The left-hand hitter is Dickey. Hubble pitching. Low outside for ball 1. The Yankees have caught and passed the Giants, and they're threatening to do still more here in the last of the 6th of this first game.
John in a defense right up on the base path. Bases jammed. Runners at all 3 points. Dickey waiting. Takes low for ball 2. One just under the knees. Ball 2. 2-1. The Yankees in this Inner City series. Hubble, one of the toughest spots of his life. It's a sweltering hot afternoon, cloudy. Hub has extra heat applied to him right now at the moment, aside from the weather. Dickey waiting. He's ahead. 2-0 pitch. Swung on as a ground ball. The bases remain full and a run scores. 2-1. And Mancuso walks sadly out to the mound. Hubble is finished. And back in the dark resources of the Giant bullpen will come another of Terry's mound crew to assume a burden which apparently was left in the last game of the 1936 series. It seems as though we are right back beginning today where we left off last fall. A conference out there on the mound. Hubble still standing around. Whitehead has come in from second. Bartell, Mancuso. Harry Gumbert, the tall young right-hander, is coming in to relieve Paul Hubble. 8 of the Yankees faced Hubble in the last of the 6th inning. 7 of them got safely on, and 5 of them have scored. Harry Gumbert, very tall, making that long walk. The bullpen for the Giants is hidden in the stands behind right center field. He has to make all that distance as he comes into the ball game. In other words, he gets pretty well acclimated before he ever gets to the mound.
Number 14, now pitching.
Gumbert first announced over the loudspeaker, and now Kaufman. And it is Dick as he steps to the mound. It's Dick Kaufman, the former American leaguer. Before the relief pitcher came into sight, Gumbert was announced as replacing Hubble. But after the pitcher came into sight, it was announced as Kaufman. Dick Kaufman, right-hander, who has been prominent as the Giants' #1 relief man the last couple of years. Kaufman throwing down to Mancuso. We've had so much fireworks lately while Kaufman's limbering up. Warren, how have you seen it?
Well, it seems a long time to go back that far, Red, but I'm still thinking about that play at second base when the ball got away from Dick Bartell after it seemed as though Mancuso had trapped him off, and it was amazing the way the Yankees leaped into action after that break, which was very definitely the break for which they've been waiting throughout this entire ball game. It's also interesting to me to note that when Gomez had his bad inning, which was the 5th, he managed to escape from there with 1 run. When it came time for the Yankees to tear after Hubble, one thing or another, combined with their own powerful hitting, particularly those singles, which were hit with a great deal of authority, certainly ruined his afternoon for him very rapidly. There was one possible play in this inning, a play that Whitehead tried to make on the ball Bill Dickey kept down. It was a slow hit ball, and Whitey made a noble try for the ball, diving after it, but he was unable to get the ball and get it in time to make a play for anyone. It seems interesting to me, Red, at the present time that we've gone through an inning here with the Yankees making 5 runs, and so far there is no semblance of their patented home run. It's been almost in one of these big innings of the Yankees, it seems as though somebody walks up there and hits one out of the park. Isn't that your impression of the Yankee big inning?
Right you are, Warren. And there's also some big stuff brewing down there, which doesn't very often happen. Now, that mistake about announcing Gumbert as the relief pitcher is causing a furor, and I guess you know the technicalities involved. Suppose you go ahead and explain it, Warren.
Well, after he becomes announced officially as the pitcher, he is definitely the pitcher until at least he throws 1 ball. And when Kaufman appeared on the mound, Art Fletcher, the Yankee coach, immediately went over and started complaining to the umpires about it, and the result was it was quite a conference. Now we have Gumbert back there.
Gumbert, number 10, now pitching for the Giants.
So that's the way that thing works out. I think that's the first time in World Series history that I've seen anything like that. Frequently in baseball games, we've seen a pinch hitter announced and go up to the plate. For example, a left-handed hitter going up to hit and a pitching substitution is made, whereupon another announcement is made of a right-hand hitter, and the right-hand hitter takes his place at the bat without the left-hand hitter having been up there at all. But as far back as I can remember, this is the first time we've had a pitcher in the game without doing any more than warming up in the bullpen and walking all that long distance. And it certainly is a long distance from that giant bullpen in right field. So that now that law and order has been restored again, we really do have Harry Gumbert out there pitching, and I congratulate you, Red, on detecting that, even though Kaufman got in ahead of him.
Well, thanks a great deal, Warren. And I guess baseball is like life itself. You can never tell just exactly what's going to happen. First, Gumbert is announced, and then a correction. And apparently that's all there is to it. So most of the folks up here think that Kaufman's coming in to pitch. And then suddenly a technicality is involved. And it was involved around whether the public address announcer was officially informed that Gumbert would pitch. And evidently he was, because that being the case, Gumbert has to pitch. Had the announcer himself just on his own authority said Gumbert would pitch, that wouldn't have had any bearing. And now up there now is Lazzari. But the throw goes over to first base as Gumbert officially goes to work. Harry Gumbert, the former Baltimore Oriole, throws again to first base. Here's the situation here in the last of the sixth. With one man out, Selkirk is at first, and Hogg is at third. The Yankees are riding out in front 5-1. Up there at the plate on a crouch is the very stick. Gumbert delivers inside for ball one. And now technically Gumbert is in the ball game. He's delivered one pitch to Tony Lazzari. Outfield around toward left. The Yankees lead off first and third. A curve floating down in there for ball strike one. Lazzari looking at it and takes it. Tony hit back to Hubble in the second inning and was promptly tossed out at first, and then Hub struck him out in the fifth. That was when Hub wound up his great sequence of 14 straight Yankee victories. That was the last of that string. The Yankees put on a string of their own here in the last of the sixth. There's a slow ball hit through second base to right center field. In from third comes Hogg. Around the third goes Selkirk. A change of pace was met with a half swing by Tony Lazzari, who was trying to hit behind the runner, and he singled through the middle, right underneath Burgess Whitehead, who was running up on it. And in comes another run, and the Yankees are now +5, leading 6-1. And Gomez, who was first up in the last of the sixth, is now coming up for his second trip in the last of this inning, the 10th Yankee to bat, and just one man is out. A single right back through the middle by Lazzari, which nets in still another Yankee run. And Gumbert, who had to come out and pitch to one man, now is taken out, and Kaufman comes in.
Kaufman, number 14, now pitching for the Giants.
And now at long last, as the fellow once said, Kaufman is in the ball game. Dick Kaufman comes into the ball game, and as he comes in, the Yankees are ahead 6-1. Gumbert pitched to one batter, Lazzari, who singled and knocked in the Yankees' sixth run. Up now is Gomez, who was first up in the last of the sixth, then drew a walk. The fateful pass. Gomez hitting left-handed, Dick Kaufman, tall, rugged right-hander. Off first is Lazzari, off third, Selkirk. Gomez says Kaufman's taking a little too much time, so he steps back out of the box. On to, of course, Paul's time. The outfield a little toward left. Swinging, strike one. Kaufman came down with a slant, just above the knees on the inside. Gomez chokes that bat just about an inch, pumps it back and forth. Shot infield, pulled right up on the base paths. Low inside for ball one, right across the shins. 1-1. Fletcher jumping up and down, back of third. He's very, very elated. Looks as though he's filled with the elixir of life. The pitch is low. And it's ball two. 2-1. 6-1 in favor of the Yankees. 6 runs in the last of the 6th. Apparently, that isn't all. Gomez in a crouch, takes low, and it's ball 3. 3-1. Hoffman punishing a big chew of tobacco. That's the point of his jaw out there, very belligerently. Now walks around back of the mound, kicks a little dirt, pulls the peak of his cap down snugly over his eyes, splits into the black loam topsoil of the Yankee Stadium, looks toward first, toward third, now delivers 3-1. Low for ball 4. Twice Gomez has walked here in the last of the 6th inning, and this reloads the bases. Still just 1 out. Gomez, twice up here in the last of the 6th, is both times given an Annie-Oakley to first base. This pushes Lazari down to second, and Selkirk down to third. Selkirk already at third. Bases full, 1 out. Batter is Frank Mazzetti, who singled sharply once in this 6th already, up for his second time. Takes it way outside, ball 1. Little shortstopper from the Yankees, choking that war club, standing right off the plate, easily balanced. The base is just as full as a tenement house in a busy district. Kaufman right hands it down, and it's swung on and foul, tipped back.
1-1. Gomez at first, Lazari at second, Selkirk at third. Mancuso goes out to talk to Kaufman. Infield lazily passing the ball around between themselves. This has been a severe jolt to the Giants, this last of the 6th inning. And the Yankees are still the Yankees, running absolutely according to form on the dope sheet. No variations at all. Kaufman comes down, Guzzetti swings. It's a fly ball into short left field. Up comes Joe Moore on the dead run. Under it, make the catch, and the runners are forced to hold where they are. The throw-in is cut off 2/3 of the way toward the plate by third baseman Merline. That's out number 2 here in the last of the 6th inning. Red Ralph, hitting left-handed, steps up. 2 men gone here in the last of the 6th. Bases full. Kaufman drawing up the fingers of his right hand. Ralph pulls the black cap down snug around his ears. Pumps that stick back and forth. Outfield a little toward right. Pitches outside, a change of pace. Ball 1. All set. Easily balanced. He has 1 for 3 this afternoon. Takes low inside. Ball 2. It was Kaufman's fastball. His sights were not quite high enough. This vast throng, many, many thousands, here at Yankee Stadium, wildly hilarious, and even a foul ball through the first 5.5 innings has sort of settled back. Either completely filled to a point of satiation with happiness, or else completely crushed. Low inside for ball 3, and with the bases loaded, Kaufman is behind to Red Rock. He hasn't hit his target once. Misses once more, walks in a run. There's a strike. Just on the knees on the inside. 3-1. Trout stepping back out of the box, steps in again. And Mancuso down in his crouch, calls for it. Runners don't lead down very far. Now they start streaking off. Gomez isn't cutting up down at first. He's conserving his energies. The pitch. Outside for ball 4 and a walk to Ralph with the bases full. And in comes another Yankee run. Ralph is credited with batting in that run. 7-1 in favor of the Yankees. 6 runs to the good.
Gomez to second. Up now is Joe DiMaggio. Swings. It's a high fly ball deep out into center field. Lieber goes back and pulls it down. Well, that's all for the first 6 innings, and it looks like it might be all for the afternoon. However, a ball game is never over until the last man is out. But first, before anything else is said by Warren Brown, we pause for station identification.
Back at the Yankee Stadium, and this ball game coming to you through the National Broadcasting Company and its associated stations has certainly provided a big inning, finally, after we remained around here for upwards of 5.5 innings watching quite a pitching duel between Lefty Gomez and Carl Hubble. The Yankees certainly caught up with Hubble in that last inning when they secured 6 runs and 7 hits. Not all of them, of course, all for Hubble, for he was gone, and during the balance of the inning we had 2 giant pitchers in there. Harry Gumbert, who seemed to come in because of a mistake in identity on his way from the bullpen, and Dick Kaufman, who finished up for the game. There were a few bases on balls crowded into that inning, and certainly 1 break which went against Hubble at the time he was in there. However, full credit must go to the Yankees for the ability with which they leaped to the attack once they had an opening, and it was the first opening in the game that Hubble had given them. All right, Red.
Lefty Gomez is ready now to start the 7th, pitching to Jimmy Ripple. He does strike 1 call. Sharp breaking curve just above the knees. Ripple has 1 for 2 this afternoon. He started off what looked to be the Giants' big inning of the 5th with a single. Takes low outside, and it's 1-1. Gomez has never lost a World Series ball game. And it looks as though he'll still be able to camp on that record for another few hours. 7-1, favor of the Yankees. Ripple swinging, foul tips it back. Strike 2, 1-2. First Giant up in the 7th. Yankees ahead 7-1. After Ripple, McCarthy, then Mancuso. Infield straight away. Up a step on the left side. Full depth on the right. Outfield a couple of steps toward right on Jimmy. Full hitter. Swings. There's a fly ball going out into left. Holt coming up fast. Takes it on the run. It's all for Ripple. 1 up, 1 gone to the 7th. Batters McCarthy. He has 1 for 2. He singled through Lazari in the 5th inning to send Ripple around to third base. Jimmy later coming in on Mancuso's double play ball. The only run the Giants have. McCarthy, a rookie, takes strike 1 call. This has been his rookie year in the big leagues. And at the end of his first year in the majors, here he is in the World Series, and he has 1 for 2 at the moment, up for his 3rd time. Swings and misses at a curve, strike 2. Missed that one off the end of his bat. They're playing McCarthy just as they did Ripple as far as the outfield is concerned, toward right, left side of the infield the same, and Lazari is a step or so more down toward first. High inside, on the chest for ball 1. 1-2. McCarthy, very slender. Big Bill Dickey sets his mitt. The ball is bounced easily back to the mound. Gomez traps it, throws over to first. That's all for young John. Getting back to the box. 2 up, 2 gone. Top of the 7th. Hitter is Gus Mancuso. Comes back out of batter's box. Takes the meat end of his stick. Knocks the dirt out from his spikes. Now stepping in. Close over against the catcher. Fences straight away. Strike 1 called. A little hook was snapped in just above the knees on the inside. Right-hand hitter. Gomez. Elongated, slender left-hander. Delivers. Fastball inside. 1-1. Gomez draws up his knees almost under his chin. Flails those arms around his back of him. Ties himself up into such a knot you wonder how in the world he ever gets out of it. Delivers. Inside. Ball 2. 2-1. Lefty pitching just as he has all the afternoon. Taking the sign, then going right to work. Takes time out for a blow right now. Looks into the dirt as though he were reading a letter from home. Straightens up, blows again. And this time, it's Mancuso who backs away and says, well, have the blows on me this time. Gus steps in. Double swinging stretch. Gomez delivers. Mancuso hits it high out into short center field. DiMaggio comes running under it and takes it. And it's nothing across for the Giants in the top of the seventh. And more observations from Warren.
Get almost any ball club down for the time being. Naturally, with Gomez being as effective as he has been throughout his American League season and throughout this ball game, with the exception of the fifth inning, it was hardly likely that the Giants were going to cut loose and have any big inning off of him any more than it was that the Yankees were going to have one off of Carl Hubble. But that, to me, is one of the reasons why there are probably more than 60,000 people here looking at this baseball game. One never knows what is going to happen in a ball game. At the very minute that Hubble walked Gomez, who was a pitcher, no one suspected that he was due for the trouble that happened. And so, Red, looks like they're ready to start again, maybe on Kaufman this time.
Dick Kaufman ready to pitch to Lou Gehrig. And does so, calls strike one, buzzing it down just above the knees on the outside. Gehrig has 0 for 2 official trips. The only time he got on was in the sixth with a delivered walk. Later came around to be scored. Outfield very deep, ground toward right. Columbia Lou, tremendous favorite here, sets. Gets back from one inside up against him tight for ball 1. 1-1. Dick Kaufman, the third, the Giant pitchers. In the ball game and in the sixth inning. Now working, starting the last of the seventh. Gehrig swinging. It's a sky-high foul up on top of the stands in back of third base. Hits up at the edge of the upper facade and drops all the way back like a bum. Oh, that's one bum that people weren't dodging. They were fighting to get close to it. Kaufman comes down with a change of pace, just missing outside. Count levels at 2-2. Gehrig certainly had to lay the engineering eye on that one. Dick delivers. Missing inside, it's 3-2. Gehrig turned a little bit toward right field. Digs in solidly, standing on those piano legs of his. Takes outside for ball 4. And Gehrig is walked first up in the last of the seventh. That's walk number 3. Given up by Kaufman. Walk number 6 given to the Yankees. Nobody out. Last of the seventh. Gehrig now leading down off first. Bill Dickey, who has 1 hit out of 3 tries, stands waiting. Batting left-handed. Very, very tall and slender for a catcher. Outfield toward right. Dickey pulls. Infield pull up around second. Bill takes a curve outside, ball 1. Kaufman missing. (7-1) favor of the Yankees. Nobody out last of the seventh. The man on first. Low for ball 2. Kaufman's having trouble with his control. It's no new experience for Kaufman to be pitching against the Yankees. Most of his major league career has been in the American League. Washington for the Browns. Being released by the St. Louis Browns, came over to the National League with the Giants. Pitches inside. There's a throw down to first, not in time by Mancuso. And it's 3-0. 3-0 to Bill Dickey. Gehrig on first with a pass. Dickey set. Kaufman misses inside with his 3-0 pitch for ball 4, and Dickey trots off to first base, and Gehrig moves down to second. Of the 6 Yankees that Kaufman has pitched to, he's walked 4 of them. Big Gamble's back onto the mound. Bill Terry standing out in front of the Giant dugout. Looks down into the dirt for the moment. imagine Bill doesn't feel like joining a choir and singing one of his now famous solos. Batter up is Merrill Hogue, who drops a bunt down toward third and it rolls foul. Strike one. Nobody out. Last of the seventh. 7-1 favor the Yankees. Gehrig on second, Dickey on first. Result of passes by second relief pitcher Dick Kaufman. Much attention was focused on the relief pitchers in the last of the sixth inning. And there was a slip-up on the generalship somewhere. Gumbert was announced, and he was sitting in on the dugout. Hadn't thrown a ball, hadn't even been in the bullpen. He had to hurriedly go out and pitch to one Yankee, even though Kaufman was announced following him. Kaufman couldn't come in until Gumbert pitched to one man. Now Hogue, the right-hand hitter, takes high outside. A throw down to second. Isn't in time. And Bartell on the third base side of second base, leaning for the ball, has Husky Lou Gehrig come right into him, much as an end tries to take out an opposing tackle. Gehrig's fighting to get back to the bag, and little Bartell in his way. Well, you can guess the result. Gehrig got back to the bag. 1-1. Hogue down in his crouch. He has 0 for 3. Doesn't choke the bat. Tries to bunt, and this one is popped foul back of third. So far, the Yankees this afternoon have been unable to lay down bunts when ordered, and then have been hitting with 2 strikes on them, base hits. It seems to be a pretty good baseball strategy. It's working today anyhow. Working at 1,000. Now can Hogue continue the Yankee policy? 1-2. Nobody away. The runners lead off first and second. Kaufman twirls as though he will throw back to second, but he doesn't. Gehrig taking a long lead. There's a ground ball hit to third. Ott scoops it up, throws the second one away. The relay on the first. It's a double play. Gehrig moving down to third base. And Hogue was unable to continue that Yankee policy so far of the sixth inning. Trying to bunt, fouling off 2 pitches, then hitting safely. He fouled off his 2 bunt pitches, then hit into a double play. Ott to Whitehead to McCarthy. Gehrig on the double play, moving down to third. It's 2 outs. Last of the seventh. But now it's Selkirk. Turns sharply toward right. Swings, fouls it. Sends around. Strike one. George has 1 for 3. In singles, came into the sixth. Law but one of the Yankee hits came. There was a sharp one wrapped through the hole between first and second out into right field. Outside, ball 1. 1-1. 2 out. Gehrig on third, 90 feet away. The Yankees lead 7-1. Outfield pulled around toward right. Selkirk takes a change of pace low. 2-1. Ormsby working balls and strikes. Law behind first, Basil behind second, Stewart behind third. Kaufman comes in. It's an outside pitch which is rolled down to short. Bartell picks it up, throws over to first in time. McCarthy leaning in, makes the stretch and the pickup. That's all for the Yankees. And at the end of 7 innings, it is 7-1. Warren.
Well, Red, that was interesting to watch how Kaufman righted himself after that bad start out there. Since he's got into this ball game, as you pointed out, he certainly was very wild, and after he walked the first 2 men in the inning, that seemed to me to be the opportunity for the Yankees to start a lot more trouble there. But the play that Ott made to turn that drive by Hogue into a double play helped Kaufman out considerably. And I suppose that the Yankees are content with what they have now, and I don't know as I blame them. 7 runs at this part of the ball game going into the first half of the 8th inning seem to be a lot of runs, considering the way that Gomez has been going since he started this ball game. Well, there's the first giant hitter coming up, Red, so back to you.
Burgess Whitehead will start it off as we go into the beginning of the 8th. The end of 7th full inning. For the Yankees, 7 runs, 7 hits, and no errors. While for the Giants, 1 run, 5 hits, and 1 error. Burgess Whitehead, who has so far the only extra base hit, takes strike 1 call right down in first pitch of the 8th inning. He doubled. Last time up, he had 1 for 2. Swinging, it's a fly ball out into center field. DiMaggio waiting lazily under it and has it. It's all for Burgess. One up, one away in the eighth. And Wally Berger is coming out to bat for Kaufman. Big Wally Berger, former big fan of the Boston Club of the National League. Well, there's not going to be any slip-up on who's going to pinch hit. Umpire Orsby and the public address announcer meet, and they tell each other exactly what's coming off.
Berger, number 3, batting for Kaufman.
The first pitch to Berger is high outside. Ball one. Wally is the big strapping six-footer, hitting right-handed. Gomez delivers. Berger swings. It's a high fly ball long out in the center. DiMaggio waiting, takes it. So for Berger. 2 up, 2 away. Top of the eighth. Jojo Moore, the thin man of the Giants, or the Gauze Ghost, he's sometimes called. Now steps up to hit for his 4th time. Means the Giants are starting their 4th batting around. Joe singled through the middle in the 6th. He has 1 for 3. Hitting left-handed, then deep in the box. Takes strike 1, called. Sharp curve down above the knee. Moore is feared as one of the most dangerous first ball hitters in baseball, and he hasn't swung on a first pitch this afternoon. Takes low inside. Ball 1. 1-1. Joe pumping at stick. The pitch low outside. Moore's ahead. Gomez behind. Gomez comes in there. Low for ball 3. 3-1. Pitch. All right, 2. 3-2. Outfield toward right. Moore swinging. It's a high foul. Back of third. Cross goes over, but he cannot get it. He's back into the boxes. Still 3-2. 2 out. Nobody on. John half of the 8th inning, which is the first of the 8th. The series is being opened. Yankee Stadium, the American League ballpark this year. The Yankees, the home club. 7-1. The argument of power supremacy. 7-1, favor the Yankees. Moore swings on another 3-2 pitch. This is a fly ball into short left field, and it drops safely in there for a base hit. Moore turns to the left at first and then holds on, dropping a fly ball single in short left field, about 15 feet inside the foul line. The second straight hit for Moore. He's the first Giant to have more than 1 blow. This is number 6 off Gomez, and it's the first hit off Gomez since White hit doubled with 2 out in the 5th. 2 out, Moore leading off first. The batter is Dick Bartell. There's 1 for 3. Swings on the first pitch. It's a long line drive deep into left, and it's caught right back up against the stands by left fielder Poe. Ball for the top of the 8th. The Yankees are still a plus 6 run. 1.
To be the effective pitcher that he has been right down the line, that base hit that Joe Moore dropped over there in the left field wasn't such a severe one that it would have startled anybody. And at all events, it came when there were 2 out, which is a good time normally for base hits to come, especially when there are no one on base. Since his little mishap in the 5th inning, Gomez has gone right straight through this ball game, and he's pitched, I wouldn't say remarkable baseball, but he's pitched the kind of baseball that people have been expecting from him. Because of the fact that Wally Berger was used as a pinch hitter in the game, we will have a chance this afternoon to look at 4 of the Giant pitchers. And, Red, because we can never be sure who the Giant pitchers are after that practice that was established in the 6th inning, suppose you take a look at him out there and decide whether or not he's Smith. It looks like Smith to me. Do you think he is Smith?
Well, if he's not Smith, Warren, he's certainly wearing Al's uniform and looks just like him. Al Smith turned out of a little left-handed curveball artist. The 4th Giant pitcher, thrown against the Yankees here in the first game, 1937 World Series. Smith had just taken his place there on the mound, simply throwing down to Gus Mancuso. In the season of 36, Smith was just about tops for the Giant relievers. One time, Bill Terry said that he just about the best relief pitcher that he ever saw, especially coming in there with a curveball. However, this year, Al has not been tremendously effective. And the relief burden among the Giants has had to be shifted around from man to man. However, it's a well-known fact that when the Giants want some real relief pitching, Hubble has usually been the fellow who went out there and made one run stand up. First Yankee up in the last of the 8th inning is Tony Lazzari. Lots of people are now beginning to leave as we go into the last of the 8th inning. Lazzari hitting right-handed, swings on an inside pitch, missing for strike one. A steady stream of people trying to beat the mob, which will be pouring out of Yankee Stadium in 6 more outs. Now leaving already. Lazzari takes low inside. 1-1. Al Smith coming on for the last of the 8th. And it's the New York Yankees. 7 runs, the New York Giants 1. 7-1. Smith comes down. High. 2-1. Al's very stocky. Throws sort of side on. Doesn't wind up. Outfield is toward the left on Lazzari. Tony takes up against him for ball 3. 3-1. Smith taking the return from Mancuso, slowly back to the mound. Al comes down. It's in there, swung on and hit deep and far back into left, and it's a home run for Lazzari. Say that 3-1 came down in there, and did Lazzari go after it and get fat on it. The first home run of the 1937 World Series. Hit high, far into the lower spectators, deep behind left field, and well up among them. No question about that. And now it's 8-1. And Gomez is up. Swings and misses, strike one. About the one thing left to make Gomez's cup of joy overflow is to get a base hit. He, like any other pitcher, dearly loves it. Gets back from one up against him. 1-1. Lazzari really pickled one for keeps just a moment ago. Smith comes down with a curve in there. Ball strike 2. That one drove Gomez. Left-hand hitter back a step and then broke away from him and down over cleanly. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nobody out. Gomez falls away from a pitch, pulls it deep into right field, and Ripple, misjudging it, then goes back to make a spectacular catch. Gomez set to hit that pitch, fell into it, and got his whole weight behind it and drove it deep out into right. Ripple came in, misjudged it at first, then saw the ball was going to carry, far over his head, started running back. 1 foot slipped underneath him, but still he managed to get strength from somewhere and leap high into the air to make a spectacular one-handed catch and save himself. Frank Rossetti hits the first pitch a line drive right to Mellon. And that's 2 away in the last of the 8th inning. Warren's going to tell you more about Ripple's catch. I can see him sort of licking his chops in preparation for that. Line drive hit back Rossetti to Mellon for the second out. Now it's 2 away, last of the 8th inning. Nobody on and Red Rolf up. He has 1, 4, 3 official tries. Hitting left-handed, he tries to bunt and foul tips it. Strike 1. Left-hand batter, left-hand pitcher, Al Smith. The 4th Giant hurler in this ball game since the 6th inning. 8-1. Favor of the Yankees. Outfield straight away. Roth doesn't go after it, but it's good. Ball strike 2. Smith burnt that one through his fastball. Ripple put it deep out and right. Roth down in his crouch. Leads back from one inside. Ball 1. 1-2. Off up there hitting. DiMaggio leaning down on his right knee on deck. Ralph cocks that stick back in his left ear. Swings. It's a high fly ball out in the left field. Joe Moore goes back one step. Now comes in one and has it. That's all for the last of the 8th. Warren?
Fred, I noticed that you suggested that I was going to talk something about that catch that Ripple made in this inning. First, I want to say that this inning stirred memories in me rather than excited me about what happened here. When Tony Lazzeri got his home run this afternoon, the first one of the 1937 World Series, I was thinking about one that he made last year, which came with 3 men on bases. That was truly a sensational one, since that doesn't happen very often in World Series history. When Ripple started after that ball out there, believe it or not, Red, I was thinking of a catch he made in Chicago not long ago with 3 men on bases at a time when some of us thought that the pennant lay between the Giants and the Cubs. And if he hadn't made that catch with those 3 men on bases, why, maybe there would have been a little different in here. I think that's the way everybody accepted it, so that when Ripple went up in the air and caught Gomez's long drive, much as I hated to see Gomez lose in his life's ambition to make a base hit, I couldn't help think of that catch in Chicago. So now back to you, Red.
Melot takes the first pitch of the 9th inning. Ball strike 1. Gomez looking just as strong and fresh as when he started. Comes right back in. Out swings and misses. Fastman burnt down around the knees. Strike 2. Gomez gives his trousers a little yank. Straightens up. Knees and elbows akimbo. He comes out of it. Strike 3 swinging. And on 3 pitches, Master Melvin is struck out to start the 9th inning. That's the second strikeout for Gomez. He got his first strikeout at the expense of Hank Lever with the 3rd out in the 1st inning. And here is Hank up again. Hank has 0 for 3. The Yankees had 8-1. 1 out, nobody on top of the 9th. John's batting. Lever takes, outside, ball 1. Gomez still shining brightly underneath that record of his of having never been beaten in World Series competition. Inside, and it's ball 2. 2-0. Outfield is very deep on Hank. He gets a hold of it. He'll give it a ride. Pitch. Right in. That one is taken. 2-1. A steady stream of people going out of every possible exit here at Yankee Stadium. They figured some time ago the outcome of the game was decided. Lever swings. It's a fly ball out into center. DiMaggio coming in, makes the catch on his chest. Two away, top of the 9th. Up steps Jimmy Ripple, who found Major League Baseball was much more lucrative and pleasant than being an ambidextrous paper hanger. Outfield toward right. Ripple hitting left-handed, takes inside against him, all 1. Jimmy looking very calm and cool. To say that he is a left-handed hitter is only half the truth. The pitch. Call strike 1. When Ripple came to the Giants, he hit from either side of the plate. Terry insisted that he hit as a left-handed swinger. Low, outside, 1-2. Count slightly in his favor. 2 out, top of the 9th. Nobody on. The Yankees 7 runs to the good, leading 8-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. Gomez delivers. Low outside, and it's 3-1. Ripple looking very coolly. He's 1 for 3 this afternoon. Single pushed up in the 5th inning. Ball 4. Walk going down to first base. And that's the first base on balls given up by Lefty Gomez this afternoon. 7 of the Yankees received gratuities. Ripple on first, 2 out. The batter is young Jack McCarthy. Or John, if you don't know him very closely. Swings and misses. Strike 1. That one right down in there. McCarthy, slender, young first baseman. He's finishing his first year in the majors by participation in the World Series. Swings, foul tips that one back for strike 2. Gomez has promptly gone ahead of him with his first 2 pitches. 0-2 to McCarthy. Dickey down in his crouch. First baseman Gehrig back to his fielding post. Ripple's allowed to lead as far off first he wants to. High outside. Ball 1. 1-2 to McCarthy. Gomez at the moment seems to be just slightly tired. He gives you the impression that he is trying to put a little bit more on the ball than he has any other time. Pitch is high. 2-2. 2-2. 2 out. Top of the 9th. McCarthy waiting. Dickey calls to the pitch. McCarthy swinging, foul tips it right back onto the screen. Count still hangs at 2-2. Field pull toward right. Things are quiet right now. About the only hubbub from the spectators are those who are moving, trying to get out of the park. Pitch misses outside by a hair for ball 3. And it's 3-2 to Jack McCarthy. And now the running hit is on for Ripple at first base. He'll be breaking Gomez's arm. He does. Pitches in, rolls slowly down toward first. Gehrig comes in to field it, picks it up, and tags McCarthy out as Jack comes running into first base. Gehrig, with a big grin on his face, stuffs that baseball in his hip pocket, grabs Gomez by the hand. The two of them shake hands and are the first players off the field as they dash into the Yankee dugout and disappear from sight. And the Yankees win, would you say convincingly? Well, I don't know of a better word. And to speak a convincing truth, it's been a great deal of pleasure for this old redhead to be up here talking to you the last 4 innings. And now this is Red Barber handing you over to the very capable hands of Warren Brown, who is going to put you just right on how everything happened this afternoon, and funny how it did. Warren.
Well, thank you, Red. And summing up this ball game, the first of the 1937 World Series, it was, after all, strictly a matter of pitchers. It started out that way between Lefty Gomez, the best pitcher, I suppose, in the American League, and Carl Hubble, who was certainly the superior left-hander in the National League. Right up until the 6th inning, it was a ball game between these two. And if anything, Hubble seemed to be the more effective of the two. In the 5th inning, the New York Giants had crowded Gomez sufficiently to score 1 run, which looked like a lot of runs. In that inning, manager Joe McCarty of the Yankees, who has steered them to a couple of pennants in a row and 1 World Championship, had to make up his mind whether he wanted to pull his infield back and play for a double play and stake the Yankees or the Giants, I should say, to 1 run and take his chance on what would follow. That's what he did. Pulled his infield back, and Gus Mancuso hit into a double play. Out of that, the Yankees were able to escape with only having the 1 run scored against them, which came in on the double play, and that was the 1 big inning, or the start of 1 big inning, that the Giants were able to have off Gomez all afternoon. On the other side of the field, Hubble, after walking 1 man and allowing a hit in the 1st inning, was unhittable right on through to the 6th inning. Then he did a thing which baseball folk always think, since there is a lot of superstition in baseball, they always think that if you walk the first man, and especially if you walk the pitcher, there's going to be trouble. I don't think that any of the more than 60,000 people in this Yankee Stadium this afternoon suspected that when Lefty Gomez got his base on balls to open the 6th inning, that there was going to be quite as much trouble as there was until the last man was retired. Before the last man was retired in that inning, the Yankees had driven Hubble out of the box, and because of a mistake in announcement, Harry Gumbert was in there in time to pitch to 1 man who got a base hit off him, and Dick Kaufman finally got the inning over. Before he did, there were 7 runs scored and 6 hits. And that was the ball game. Later on in the game, in the 8th inning, with the 4th Giant pitcher in action, Al Smith, Tony Lazzeri batted out the only home run and, incidentally, the only Yankee extra base hit of the ball game. That made the score 8 for the Yankees, at which they rested on their laurels in this first game. In looking over my scorebook here, I find that the Yankees have 8 runs and 8 hits, which seems to me to be a very effective way of doing business. Going into the game tomorrow, which will also be played at the Yankee Stadium, the 2nd game of the series, I don't imagine either manager will change from his plans. Before the game today, Bill Terry told me that he intended to come in with Cliff Melton, and I imagine he will come in with him. Melton being the young left-hander who has won his 20 games in his first full year up here in the major leagues. Joe McCarty of the Yankees said that he intended to pitch red roughing tomorrow, and Joe was inclined to go a little further. When he talked to me, Joe is an old friend of mine, and he spoke his mind out to me down there in the Yankee dugout before the game. He said that he didn't think that he would go away from a platform that he established rather effectively last year. He said that it would be Gomez today, roughing tomorrow, and after that, Monty Pearson and Bump Hadley. And unless the Giants pull themselves together and tear after Melton, I imagine that's the way the Yankees will go through, with the same four pitchers that they used in the World Series last year. The game today was certainly an interesting one. There was a lot of spectacular fielding on both sides. And while there wasn't the tremendous burst of hitting that we've been led to expect from these two clubs, and particularly from the Yankees, who have capitalized on their power to win an American League pennant off by themselves, nevertheless, they did mass together and put across one big inning. All right, George Hicks, I'll say goodbye now, and it's yours.
Well, all I can say is that the game is over and that historical first marker is down. The chips are down and the Yanks are up. And the crowd is now pouring out. By the time the game was well underway, by the second inning, practically every seat in the Yankee Stadium was filled. There must have been close to the 60,000 mark and over. The new additions, seats 71,000 at Yankee Stadium now. And so we've had the first game. Right now, as we look down from our tier, the third tier right at the edge over home plate, the diamond itself and the green outfield is simply dotted and spotted all over, and the exits crowded with these thousands of spectators who are taking home their memories of the first game of the 1937 World Series. As I looked at it, very much of a spectator this afternoon, the walk of Gomez in the sixth and that slashing single to center by DiMaggio with the bases loaded for the first runs, well, I think that broke Hubble's heart and the Giants' spirit for the game today. And, by the way, the only homer today was Lazzeri's, the first man up in the eighth. He pulled a terrifically long and high homer into the left field grandstand. It must have gone at least 400 feet. Nobody on, but that was the homer of the day. And so I guess that's about all we can say. This has been brought to you by the NBC and its associated stations from coast to coast. We'll be back on the air tomorrow, of course, with the second game from the same position at Yankee Stadium. As you know, the first two games are played at the stadium, and then the third, fourth, and if there is a fifth, at Polo Grounds, and the sixth and seventh at the Yankee Stadium if necessary. We'll be back on the air tomorrow at our regular time, 1:15 Eastern Standard Time. That's 12:15 Central, 11:15 Mountain, 10:15 Pacific Standard Time. Your announcers will be Tom Manning of Cleveland, Red Barber of Cincinnati, and Warren Brown, sports editor of the Chicago Herald-Examiner. And so, well, that's all. Till tomorrow. George Hicks announcing. This program is brought to you through the National Broadcasting Company.
We wish to thank the American Home Products Corporation, makers of Old English Wax, Louis Philippe Lipstick, and Colonos Toothpaste, Sterling Products Incorporated, makers of Phillips Facial Cream, McKesson & Robbins, makers of Kalox Tooth Powder, and the Procter & Gamble Company, makers of Camay, Oxidol, Crisco, and Ivory Soap, for their courtesy in relinquishing the time for their programs usually heard over some of these stations in order that the National Broadcasting Company might bring you a description of the World Series baseball game.